touch anything.
It's the greatest find yet. Nothing compares to it.
But it's definitely something you should hear.
This is The Real Deal with Larry Lawton.
Welcome to The Real Deal with me, Larry Lawton. We're going to have a great show today, everybody. I got two good friends of mine. We're going to be talking about business and Burning Man and a bunch of other stuff. So this is going to be an exciting show, everybody. Before I get started, please, let's thank my sponsor, Oliva Cigar. They've been with us since the beginning, and they have committed to more and more. So they are great. They're going to actually be with our server, a whole bunch of stuff with GTA and everything else. Also, check out my book, Gangster Redemption. Doing great. Check out the Crooked Diamond Cigar, man. This is what we'll all be smoking here because we love them, and fuck everything else. But I'm not supposed to say that because Nick yells at me. But I got two great friends of mine on. We are going to have a fun. We're having a few drinks, and that's what The Real Deal is about, just rapping and stuff, and you could be on a conversation. I got Larry Chacha, a very close friend of mine. We're going to talk about his story, and he's a great businessman and a fun guy. And we got Laz, another great businessman. He's been on, and I don't know who's the wacko, but I'm thinking it's the younger. I don't know.
It's a toss-up.
I don't know. Laz, you're pretty up
a coin.
You guys, listen, I'm the normal one at the table. So when I see that, then that's...
I don't know about that.
Nick, is this going to be a great show?
Hello, yeah. Oh, I think we're gonna get somewhere. I don't know where, but we're gonna get somewhere.
I love that. Well, before we got on the show, everybody, Laz was about to tell a story. I said, wait a minute. Tell this on air. You willing to tell it on air?
Yeah, I can
Go
tell
ahead,
it on
hit
air.
it.
We were talking about aviation earlier and airplanes and this and that. I'm 16 years old, in high school. I got a good friend of mine. His mom is Panamanian, and she basically uses us as couriers for her clothing business. So I'm 16 years old. So I'm a skinny kid. She loads up a bunch of bags. She says, "I'll pay for your flight over there." There's Carnival over in Panama. So we get to Panama City. I've got 6 bags, all this fucking clothes, and I got a couple of porn magazines in there and stuff. Of course, the fucking custom guys they confiscate that stuff. They said, "This is."
Wait a minute, they took porn magazines from you?
Yeah, I had like a penthouse.
I mean, they were allowed to do that?
I was 16 years old. Yes, I had fucking porn on me. Yes.
No, I'm just saying, I didn't know they were allowed to take porn from you. Why?
Well,
they wanted it for themselves. They made up the rules on the spot.
So they take the stuff and they say, "Is all your stuff yours?" Yeah, it's got tags on it. Well, I'm a clothes horse, whatever. So they let us out, and I'm supposed to go to a place that's about 3.5 hours away, to this little town called Las Tablas, which is translate to the boards or the wooden boards, but it's far, so you can take a bus over there, and it's going to take you 3.5 hours, and you got chickens and goats and shit on the bus, and people riding on the roof, and then there's this little flight that can take you over there, and we said, you know what, we should take the flight because this is bullshit. It's hot as fuck. I don't want to go all the way over there. I'm 16 years old. It's on somebody else's time. Let's take the flight. It's be fun. 45 minutes. Okay, we get in this little tiny ass plane. It's the pilot, and then there's nobody in the right seat, but there's 2 seats, and there's another 2 seats, and then there's like a 2 seats in the back, but you can't really sit anything. It was full of bags and shit, our bags. So I'm sitting back behind the pilot, and every 10 minutes or something, I would see the pilot, and he would bend down, grab something off the back, and fucking back, and we're flying literally. It's over the treetops, man. We're not even 800 feet above the ground.
Under the radar.
He's going, man. And I keep seeing him go down, and I'm talking to my buddy. His name is Gonzalo. I'm like, "Hey, dude, what's the fucking guy doing?" So Gonzalo gets up over there, and he's looking at the guy, and he's looking over. The guy's got a fucking flask with, I don't know what the kind.
Oh,
he's fucking drinking, dude. And he's drinking, and I'm looking out the window, and I start getting nervous. I've been on a commercial flight, but I'd never been on a little airplane, and we're buzzing these trees, and there's all kinds of shit happening, fucking planes going up and down. And I'm shitting my pants. I'm like, we're going to fucking die. This guy's drinking on the plane,
He's drinking literally, right? He didn't give a shit.
No, he was trying to hide it. He was like, sipping it, And
is this a commercial airline?
No, it's a little private plane. It's got 6 seats in it. So he's bending down and he's drinking. This guy's lit. And I don't know how long he's drinking, but he's been drinking. So needless to say, the flight it was pretty rocky, and I was pretty nervous. So, thankfully, I'm still here. We make it, we make it the thing. I'm like, I don't say anything. Like, I'm 16 years old. I would have taken him out and beat him to a pulp. But we get out, we leave. So we spend a week there. have a great time. We're taking, there's no hot water in the town. They don't, it's in the mountains, and the carnival was going, and we found some Colombian girls. I'm 16 years old. We're partying. It's a great time, but it's time to leave. So I'm like. So my buddy's mom, she has like a little clothing store there. She goes, hey, you guys, you're going to leave, you can take the flight back. And I'm like, I don't think we're taking the flight.
You drove?
I'll walk.
For 45 minutes, how long did it take you to drive?
It was 3.5 hours. We took the bus back, and the bus ride, if I would have known, I would have drank, and I would have been okay with him drinking. No buses back. The roads sucked, but it was an experience.
That
was my flight day. We were talking about airplane. I know it's a boring story, but
it's not a boring story because it reminded me of the flight we all took together on the little plane.
Oh, and the keys?
Yeah, but they kept saying I kept hitting the controls and stuff, and I really wasn't. And I argued with Lewis, and you guys didn't let me sit.
No, you were man-spreading pretty bad.
It's a small plane.
I'm a big guy. I'm wide. I'm a wide guy.
It's a small plane.
And you were talking over air traffic control and all.
We're trying to film from the back seat. Larry's turning.
Yeah.
We're trying to film him from the back. He's turning. He's hitting the throttle. The plane's falling.
Was I really doing
30
all
feet
that?
at a time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember hitting anything. I really don't.
Yeah.
It wasn't bad. I guess we made it there.
But I want to go back
You're
to
never
the
gonna-
story.
Go ahead.
I heard of drug mules. You were like a clothes.
I was a clothing
mule.
mule. A clothing mule. Yeah.
I've never heard of that.
Wow, what is it? Was it made in China and then transferred there?
No, they brought it in Hialeah.
He's just leaving out. It was for Louis Vuitton. It's just like
It wasn't
little
even good
brand,
stuff.
Louis
It's not stuff
Vuitton.
that I would wear.
Yeah.
Chops, you traveled. You're a business. Everybody, I just want to let them know we got two great businessmen, really, and good guys. I want to emphasize that first. Yes, they're really regular guys, very successful in their fields. You have a lot of air miles, don't you?
Just crossed 3 million with Delta.
3 million miles with Delta.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's over 30, 40 years.
Did you still have the miles? Can you use the miles?
Yeah, they never expire.
They never expire.
Didn't Delta just do something where they're trying to change their whole frequent flyer program now, and it's all about money instead of
because I saw the video. I don't know if you guys saw it. We're all nuts in videos about the dude who bought a $500,000 first class ticket back in the day. They actually had him on TV.
Just rent the fucking plane.
No, $500,000, and he had first class anywhere in the world forever.
Oh, okay.
No, I know this story.
Do you
know
know
it was Mark Cuban when he sold?
No, it wasn't Mark Cuban.
No, but when he sold broadcast.com and became a billionaire, American Airlines had a $250,000 lifetime unlimited first class.
Anywhere you want.
He said it was the best investment he ever
Oh, he
made.
did it too?
Yeah, he did it. Yeah.
This one guy, I thought it was a $500,000.
They don't do it anymore.
And this is what he did. He says now he makes so much money because he gets so much like cards from different places with a credit card, and they get these miles. This guy's been sitting next to every like celebrity. He goes, you got to watch it. Just Google it. Man who has the most flight miles, and 3 million miles I've never heard. I've heard of 1 million.
That's a lot of
miles. I mean, 3 million. How many miles? I only fly in America. I've never flew except to the Bahamas and shit. I've never been to Europe, actually, myself. I've been to Asia. I've been not flying. I was in the Coast Guard with the Philippines, Australia, New Zealand, all the West, on that Pacific. But I never did. How many miles is it in the longest flight? Did you ever fly to Australia?
No, the longest leg was actually Atlanta to Johannesburg. That's one of the longest legs in the world.
Well, how long was you? You said you flew to Australia?
I went.
It's 24 hours or something, isn't it?
I went. I went Melbourne or Orlando to Atlanta, LAX to Taipei to Singapore. I went to Australia.
How many days did it take you? Because I told people want me to go
at the end.
I'm sorry?
You have to be like hazed and out of your mind at the
Oh
end
well,
of that
no.
flight.
You take drugs.
Yeah.
Well, you know what happens? Because I got a
helps.
company that said, "Oh, we'd like to fly you out and all that." Because you ain't flying me in the back of the plane if you do that. You better fly me. You better fly me up in the front.
No, we flew up front, thankfully.
But just to let you know that the reason we just started with the flights is because we all were on a plane. Laz owns a plane with a couple other guys, and we go to Keys, and we had more fun. I had more fun on that flight. The trip.
It was a lot of fun.
They try to work me to death. They try to make me walk more than a mile, and I'm messed up.
Tell them the story.
No.
Uber's not going to pick you up if you can see your location.
You ran out of gas at about 3/4 of a mile. You said, we have to call an Uber. And I said, Larry, our hotel's right there. And I said, Uber doesn't come when you could see the hotel 2 blocks away. And you said you were shitting me, and I said no. And we walk a block. How much farther is it? Another block. It was 2 blocks.
See what he's saying? You guys gaslighted me. They go, oh, it's right around this block. Okay, we get to the block. Where is it? Oh, it's around that block. Stop bullshit me. And then when you get to the hotel, they had that big flight of stairs.
It was at least a quarter of a mile.
Oh, come on.
And you
Look
were
at you.
sweating profusely. You kept shedding clothes. It's like, Larry, we're in Key West.
At 100 degrees. Let's be honest. Give me a little credit.
It was Gay Pride Week, and you kept shedding clothes.
Oh, Gay Pride.
I was getting very uncomfortable.
I like Larry naked swimming in the pool with one shoe on. That was
I want to thank you for one Chachi. You saved me a little. You understood. You didn't leave me behind.
I'm kidding.
I believe it though.
No, Chach is a guy that will stick with the crew. He didn't leave me behind. He tried to get me up the stairs, but I didn't. And then I went in the pool, and then I slept on the patio.
Naked.
It was like, knock on the door. Excuse me, is that your friend sleeping naked by the pool?
Yeah, he tried to get me out, and he said, you can't be sleeping here.
No, that's not our guy.
Then I went into the room, and I had no clothes, so I had to go out in the middle of the day to get the clothes before the flight's
I
on.
slept with an eye mask on.
I loved it. We went into a hostel. Now, I've never been to a hostel.
That
Listen,
was crazy.
I'm not any level, but I've never been to I can afford a hotel. So I know you guys. Have you ever been in a hostel?
Not when you travel with Lewis. You're not going to sleep in a hotel.
First time I was ever
That was
in
great, lad. It really was.
a hotel room with my own personal locker.
He said that.
Three strangers
He said, I've never been in a hotel all over the world where I had my own locker.
in the room.
And they bunk you with strangers, you know.
Well, we didn't have that. We had our own. But we had no air conditioning. How's that?
I had great air conditioning. My area was great.
Nick keeps
Larry
this
was
place
the only person without an AC.
There was AC. It just wasn't a meat.
Oh, it wasn't working.
Mine was working perfect.
Stop. Even Lewis put his mattress on the floor.
When you were the way you were, your AC clock's a little off. I've been with you.
Listen, and they had mini splits like this room, but you got 4 dudes in there that have been raging for all night, and you're going to go into a room and there's literally bunk beds. You rent a bunk bed there, and you go to the Keys. You're not going to stay in a. What are you going to rent a room, a $600 a night room for? You're there for 2 hours.
No, I agree with. Listen, I'm all for that. I'll sleep on the street or sleep with a broad.
I got to put my stuff somewhere, and I'll
leave it in a plane
in the morning. Yeah.
I mean, me personally, you can't listen. I lived in prison. I lived in a prison cell. So you want to get low? I'll go low with anybody.
That kind of reminded me a little like county, you know.
That is another county jail, man. We have a lot of them on the show. We're going to switch topics for a second. You both went to Burning Man. You were on the show last.
I was on the show, yeah.
Since our show, we got even some emails and stuff. Burning Man got a pretty bad name after this one. After videos have come out. Nick, he's out, research, does a lot. Nick, tell him what we saw and blew you away.
They messed that place up, dude.
Did they tear it up?
I sent you a video.
I think we watched the video like last week.
Yeah,
right now, there's porta potties.
Right now, today.
Jugs of piss still there. Trash everywhere.
No. Listen,
Are you
believe
sure?
nothing that you read and half of what you see.
I like that. That is so true.
Yeah.
I'll say a few things though, because the whole thing was you leave that desert the way you found it. And there's a term they use called moop.
What is it?
Moop. M-O-O-P. Matter out of place. Matter out of place. Anything shouldn't be out of place.
Is that an engineer term?
No, it's a Burning Man term.
Okay, good enough.
So our camp, years ago, before we leave, we go through and we don't leave a speck in the campsite because they'll grade you. Like they have a map of all the campsites and you can get a red, you were a violator, whatever. But over the years, and this is no slant against the younger generation, kind of a different crowd going now. And with the rain and everything, people hightailed out there and they left a lot of shit behind. But, people ask, okay, the Burning Man organization out of San Francisco, what do they do with all this money? I forgot how many hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars.
41 million the first year we read.
They had to come in and scrape that thing, and they made that desert pristine. So those videos you saw are not from today. That may have been a few days after.
So it was the people they hired to go clean up.
Well, the Indians. I read the Indians. I don't know what natives. How you call it? The native
management.
Yeah, but no,
Bureau of Land Management.
Bureau of Land Management, but it's an Indian.
That's right. There's an Indian reservation with.
Right. That's the one that really is the owner of that property, maybe or whatever.
They lease it to Burning Man guys. Yeah.
Right. So, and we started looking up. Nick and I started looking up because we're going to go no matter what. Even because we found out you don't have to be part of a tribe. You can go there alone. I can go there alone. Just go in. There's a whole area just for anybody who wants to go in. So I said, no matter what, I'm going. Whether I get a tribe or not, or whatever I do, I'm going in there and I'm hitting it. Whatever. It's called kind of camp, tribe, whatever you want to call it. So next year, anybody on this show wants to go, we're going to coordinate this. We're going to Burning Man. I don't know how we're doing it, but we're going to go to Burning Man. And
The Crooked Diamond Camp.
we're going to make it to Crooked Diamond, even if they don't give us one.
But you know, I'm not going to
First camp to get
I'm
raided.
not going to defend the mess left behind because that's
It was
not
really
cool.
bad.
But it was
Because you told me at first,
That
you go,
rain-
you can't even pee outside your friggin' RV.
Oh,
I
no.
said, what?
No, you cannot stay in the desert with your urine. That's a rule. That's a fine.
It's a real thing.
Yeah.
That's a fine?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Please give me that fine.
Yeah.
I just want to do it for clout.
No, because of the
Oh,
rain
it'd be
and
bad
things, it was
cloud.
kind of an unusual year, and people left just some wet shit and muddy shit.
No, it was worse. You saw it. Did
Oh,
you
yeah,
see
it
it?
was
I sent you
disgusting.
guys.
That was,
didn't I?
that was my first time there, so for me it was all normal. I was like, "Fuck,
Yeah,
maybe
well-
this is the way it's supposed to look."
And now, Chach, you've been there 3 times, right? Now, and you've been there once.
I just been there.
Will you go again?
We were talking about that the other day.
Yeah,
We're going.
I'm going. Well, we're going too. So I don't know if I want to.
But see, it was-
I'm in.
We're
Whatever you're
going.
going.
It was a big stretch.
Nick and I are definitely
went
going.
in 13 and 14, and then in 23. So it was a 9-year span from the last time. I
Was
went.
did you
They
see a
say
big
the
difference?
YouTubers ruined it.
They actually say
Yeah,
YouTube has ruined it. They're saying
Oh, really?
like a lot of influencers, guys like us, who
They
you
made
know,
it more
we-
accessible to people.
we
who
put
really
it out there
wouldn't
so
have known
much
about
that
it.
I mean, there was what 80,000 people there. That's a lot.
Yeah, yeah,
that's a lot of people. I mean, that's a lot of people.
People don't understand how many people that is,
80,000
especially with
people?
the high. People don't get logistics of anything.
last-
You know,
push
you're
your
talking
mic
about
out a little.
you know trash and fecal and wastes and everything else. That's a lot.
So
Listen,
you got to bring all your own trash. There's no trash cans. There's nothing. You have to bring what you need in and what you take it all.
So I
out.
have a question.
They provide
Did
services.
any
there.
of you drink beer?
No.
No.
Because I'm wondering if you walk across somewhere and you get a can of beer and you drink it, what do you do with the empty?
You stick
Put
it in your pocket.
and take it back.
Oh, I'm gonna put 10 beers in my pocket.
You're gonna carry 10 beers with you?
Well, don't you have a cup? Isn't there bars everywhere?
Yeah, it's.
I'm
Yeah,
just trying to get the things.
I
that
don't think I
do.
saw much beer being drank there.
I guess there's more drugs than beer and they're lighter.
No,
Well, there's
but
like
people have their
1,000
own- They have their little cups. We'd see
Yeah, there's
cups
1,000
with 7
bars
layers
there.
of different
Yeah,
stuff.
no.
Yeah.
I see
'Cause they
people have
the
cups
same
on their
cup.
hip.
They clap them
They have
out.
their
Tell you
cup
how
and they have
deep
their
we got
ID on their.
already, Chuck.
They have
Him
their.
and I, because we got into because we're gonna set this up where we started researching how to set things up, what to buy, everything to get this thing real.
It's a
So I'm gonna
process.
do
It is a process.
We're gonna do a whole show on this whole thing.
Right.
He wanted
And-
to go a week before, and I was like, you know how
There's
much
a lot
of a
of
miracle
prep. There's a lot of
this would
prep.
be if
Yeah,
you got to
you have
Burning
to-
Man.
you
You need
have
a
to-
bike. You need to decorate yourself. There's
Well,
a
I
lot
mean,
of
the
things.
bikes. I have the electric bikes. I have everything. I have the RV. The whole.
You know what
work.
made it nice was that we were with and I had never been before, so thankfully we were with a camp that had all their stuff together. So we had
Did
the
you
bikes
work?
there. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
You,
you have to
you
work.
have to participate. You know,
Every day we had to work. a
Now
shift.
that's only in the camps, right? Did you know? Do you guys know anything
Even if
about
you
the
bring-
independent?
even if you bring your own stuff, you still have to clean up.
No,
your
of
stuff
course,
and
but I'm
cook
getting.
your
Do
own
you
food.
No,
guys?
if you're on your own, you don't. But every camp has to offer something to the people who go. You have to offer something every camp.
So if I go
So
there and
these-
walk to your camp, they're gonna offer me something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the easiest thing to do, and that's why it makes it so much fun, is the gift of music. So everybody's playing some music. So you go in their camp area and you dance.
YMCA.
Oh, YMCA.
No.
So
were
that
spiked
is.
lemonade.
I was thinking about it. That is the easiest thing to provide, right? The gift of music.
I don't know if that you think you can get
That's
away
it.
with just
That's
that.
it. Yeah, that's a gift. of
Josh,
music.
you've been there 3 times. What did you give the first time, second time, and then
It's all the same. The camp provided spiked.
You pay a
Liquor.
camp fee,
Booze.
right? And then you work
Yeah.
with the camp.
Now
Yeah.
let's get real with my audience. Anybody want to go? If you're in a camp, what's the cost for you guys?
The
What
cost?
did it cost you the total trip from getting there to what did you pay out of pocket? You both probably about the
I-
same.
have no
Camp
idea.
fee was about
I have no idea.
$2,000, I think.
No, I meant everything. You got to
think
rent an
Well,
RV.
but we flew out kind of nice. So
Yeah.
you can't count. You can fly for $500 or $2,000.
You can hitchhike there.
No. Okay, let's keep
But
the
if
flight
you
out
want
of
it,
it.
but if
when you
want,
got there,
but if you want an RV, that was the problem because the RV rates it's supply and demand. So
You can't get
you're
them.
paying
And
$5
they
to
gouge you.
$10,000 for
And they
3
gouge
4
you.
nights.
They wanted
and for
16.
a garbage one too,
They wanted $16,000 for an RV. For 4
and not like ours. You got a you got a big one.
Yeah, we got
bigger
a
than
nice
mine.
one. But that RV, that experience of trying to rent an RV from somebody. I mean, we're not kids, and I'm not saying that we're not going to party and get crazy, but at the same time, we're pretty responsible. I mean, I consider myself pretty responsible. I have an RV, so I know what it is
A nice one, very nice one.
tear somebody's stuff up. So It's hard to communicate that to somebody. They think anybody that goes out to Burning Man, the thing is going to be just completely trash. It's going to be completely, a layer of mud, a layer of sand in the RV too. And most of the time,
just happen to be responsible guy.
Well, a lot of them had mandatory $2,000 to $3,000 cleaning fee.
Cleaning fee.
Yeah. So I text them, say, hey, look, we're a bunch of old people.
We're a bunch of old people.
They don't know what they're getting.
Well-behaved old people.
Little do they
sorry,
know.
the fee's $3,000. Good luck in your search. They didn't even care.
They don't even call you back.
Because they can rent it.
What was that one guy that...
I just want to take mine out there and
the guys
rent
that hitchhiked out on Saturday morning. The guys that hitchhiked out, that got a ride with the guy that was renting. How many RVs did he rent? He rented like 80 RVs or something.
Whoa.
This guy's in the middle.
One guy rented 80 RVs?
He had them for rent. So he supplied 80 RVs into... And I don't know if it's 80 RVs or 60 RVs, but it was...
A lot.
A massive amount.
But it's a big business, like this RV share. It's like Airbnb for RVs. And the guy we rented from had two of them. And usually they're $300-$400 a night, and he does well. But they're in Burning Man.
$3,000 a night.
What do we have?
$200 or $300 a night, usually.
What is it, Bernie? $3,000 a night? Or more. It's 16,000.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it was 16,000. We got a deal on ours. The guy was actually very, very, he was a sweetheart. The guy that rented, and we met him and he hung out with us and he kind of got to know us just to make sure that we weren't.
It was $9,000.
Yeah.
But everybody told me you go out there and it's a no money thing. You don't need money.
That's right.
I didn't spend a dime.
You can't spend money. There's nothing to buy.
How do people dump an RV if they dump it? Because I did hear, I read where they do dump them.
Wait, what do you mean dump it?
They have a truck that goes around.
Yeah, they pumps it out.
And gives you water.
But they also said,
oh,
good
well,
luck
you have to
leaving
pay
it
for
down.
that.
Yeah.
But I mean,
how do you pay for it? Credit
Cash.
card?
You flagged the guy.
Oh, now
out.
it's cash.
No, but I meant amongst the attendees there's nothing to buy. There's no vendors other than actually that. The water.
So there's nobody selling books or some shit?
Nothing. Zero.
No,
so you
everything
can't
is-
sell your swag out there.
Right, I got that. Okay.
You can give it away.
Yeah.
I mean,
No.
no, it's not gonna happen.
Well, I could give cigars away. Maybe a
yeah.
couple cases of cigars or something.
Yeah, I mean, and from what I saw out there, it was pretty chilled. I mean, there wasn't a lot of people. I didn't see a lot of people drinking. Everybody was.
You didn't see them drinking?
I mean, there was a lot of bars and stuff, but I didn't see anybody trash. There wasn't like people standing
Were they running around? Let's see, I got the impression that people run around naked, fucking over here and all this shit.
Well,
Yeah, you got the right impression. Yeah.
Okay, so
there was naked people out there. Yeah, all over the
that's
place.
what I want to do.
But what he said is right. Everybody's really chill. And we commented, 70,000 people. You didn't even see an argument. I said,
I said that last
even
show,
in that weather, because
Yeah.
you guys couldn't even. Listen, what happened, guys? And I remember talking to you about it. There was such bad. It was on the news like it was a
We
catastrophe.
were laughing.
You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, you know that.
We were dying laughing.
We get the news headlines. We're out partying, and it was like it was the apocalypse. Shelter in place, state of emergency, whatever. We're like,
People got to be worried about their family members. I was worried about you
guys. All
guys.
right? We got to send in a medevac to do an extraction. It's like,
It was
we're good.
ridiculous.
We're good.
You know, it's funny, you guys, because I know you.
So
guys
we get a text.
well.
We get a text, and it was like 8:00 our Burning Man time, which is out west. So it must have been pretty late. We get a text from John. And he's like, "Are you guys okay?" He must have just saw the news or something. "Are you guys okay?" He's freaking out. So Larry and I were like, "Oh shit, what's going on? Is there something?" We're like looking around. Maybe there's a fire. Somebody got fucked up. Something happened, And
being fucked up doesn't help that.
We're at a rave, and we're like
Garbage bags taped around our feet.
we take a picture. Our eyes are like this big. We're like, "Yeah, everything's good."
Well, I heard, so I'm watching the news too, and I think we were near here, and I'm saying, "Oh my God, what's going on?" And they said some people helicoptered out. I go, "Fucking Chacho and Lazarus getting helicopters now."
You saw Diplo and Chris Rock walked out.
I think a lot of that was just high. I mean, they're just looking for something.
It's false
looking
media.
for somebody.
The
looking for
media
somebody.
bullshit.
No, but it really was. Internally, it was what was going on, and everybody was doing fine.
Believe nothing
and
of what
helping
you
each
hear
other.
and half of what
But,
you see.
The outside world, it was on the news, mainstream
exactly.
media, everywhere.
Well, I
And
think a
we're
lot.
kinda
I think a lot of it has
isolated
to do with like, and I don't mean to like say anything about millennials, but I think a lot of the young people that were there, you spend a week in the woods, hunting and stuff. You're on your own, But these guys, they're just not used to it. So any little adversity, they just start freaking out.
Start crying like
and they start
bitches.
looking for somebody to help, as opposed to, hey man, do what you got to do to get yourself.
I laugh
shit
because
up.
when we talk about that a lot. I think they should do a show like. They do that Naked and Afraid.
Yeah.
They should do that with comics. I could give a fuck. I fucking rob the fucking people doing the fucking show. I mean, I'll get my
Well,
food
they got
or
nothing on
whatever.
them because they're naked.
No, I'm saying, I don't get it, because when you live like bad, you don't give a fuck. When you come from nothing and literally down into a 6 by 8 foot cell.
No, but when everything was going on, there was a lot of, okay, do we leave? Do we not leave? What do we do?
There was
Some
a lot of
people were nervous. I'm like, Laz and I were like, you know,
What's
we're
the
from
fuck?
Florida. We kind
What's
of
the worst
prepare for
that can happen?
hurricanes and stuff like that. You just kind of think
You-
of your plans.
So you
and
just
we're-
keep partying.
normal rain.
We just
Yeah,
party.
just
We just
rain.
party. Listen, man, and I'd never been there before, so from what I experienced, I thought I had a great time. I mean, the mud sucked, and it
Nick
was
said to me, he goes,
huge
"This is
inconvenience.
the year we should have went."
It's a
Because he
huge
wants to
inconvenience.
do that. He wants it
I was
to
like,
be
that
great.
would've
The year
been a
before,
great
the year
first
before was
year.
pretty bad too, right?
Yeah,
the year before
they
had
had the wind, the high winds and all for days.
And I thought that
we
was-
were in a dust storm, which is cool if it happens for a little while. Like he was 20 feet away, I couldn't see it.
Is
It's
it?
like-
Is those dust storms that bad? You
so
can't see in
it's
front of
a
you.
whiteout.
So the
It's a
coolest
whiteout.
thing is being from Florida, right? So Larry and I are in the drink booth. We're passing out booze to people.
Oh, you're in your own
So
camp.
we're participating in the in the communist thing where you have to give stuff for free. So we're participating in this, and we're passing out drinks, and I see, and I've never seen this before, and I see just a big, huge cloud, and off in the distance, and you're in the desert, man. It's a dry lake bed, so it's clear skies.
like the
you're in a
ocean.
valley.
You know, you're
it's
in the
beautiful.
ocean, you can see
it's beautiful,
water
but I
spouts
see
and
this
shit.
thing kind of crop up, and it's
Yeah.
like big, dark cloud. I'm thinking, fuck, man, that's rain or something.
You
And
see it coming at you?
It's coming right at us, and I'm
But it
like,
said it reminded me of the old westerns when there's a stampede of horses in the distance and you see the dust.
the
That's
dust-
what-
the dust
yeah.
flying up.
So
You
I
can
was
see
like
the
looking
dust.
at, I was like, man, that is the coolest thing
Yeah,
I've
it
ever
is,
seen.
man.
It was so cool. And then 10 minutes it's on us, and you can't see your hand in front of your face. You got goggles
Now,
on.
when that happens, does people get hurt? Does anything happen there? Or I'm just wondering, the medic, do they have? I mean, I
don't-
read
I
a
don't-
lot that they put up a hospital,
Yeah,
they
they
put
have-
up
they have
everything.
medical.
yeah, they have services there. They have hospitals.
I mean, if
they
you
have-
need it, obviously. I mean,
But when those
people
storms
must die
happen-
because people died. But I'd say
People
at
die
70,
everywhere.
80,000 people.
One guy died.
But people died. It's 80,000 people.
What did he die? Did he die?
I don't even know.
Somebody died.
It was an overdose.
It was an overdose. That's
Well, it's
kinda-
80,000 people there. You put
We
80,000
read when
people
people
anywhere.
ran into the fire. Not this year. At times, years back, they would run and commit suicide into the fire. The Burning Man itself, right, Nick? Where you read?
I can see that. I can see that happening.
No, I
You're
don't know.
tripping on,
Now
like,
I'm going to
5
go
tabs.
back, okay, because I want to get into this too with you two guys because we're good friends. First of all, it's a business, correct?
100%.
It's in a business.
100%.
We discussed that a little bit. Chot, you're a successful business. So are you, Laz, and you guys. Actually, you're kind of my mentors, and you know that. And I'm a crazy man. I'm a street guy, and I don't have that business brain. And they help me. I'll tell everybody. They give me advice. They talk to me, stuff like that. Chot, you're a businessman, and you started with Apple. I mean, you got rid of. You started. Give me a little of your backstory.
Yeah, Larry, give us a little bit of your backstory.
He said he would. Go ahead.
Remember
Are
when
you
you
okay?
were?
Yeah,
remember when you were in the
If you-
CIA and all
I'll
that?
give you the short version.
Are you going to give us the version where the CIA pulled in and said, "Don't say this"? No, only kidding. Go ahead.
So I came here. I was an engineer. Came here out of college from northern New York.
That
Moved
blows
to
me
Florida.
away already. Who comes to Melbourne, fucking Florida?
And,
But go ahead.
They got tricked.
Started working for Harris. We spun out and did Intersil. I was working on Wi-Fi in the early days. We were one.
Wi-Fi?
We were one of the few. We came up the Wi-Fi
Question for
Alliance. The whole standards and all that was pretty much. us
And how
a
many
few
years
other-
ago is this? 20?
That was late '90s.
Okay,
There was
25 years ago.
Yeah, there was really no Wi-Fi. There was no standard or anything. So
I was
we were
in
a
the
big
joint.
part of it.
No Elon Musk.
I was in
nobody.
the joint.
Yeah.
Wow.
So Harris sold semiconductors.
So you came and got a job with Harris, right?
Yeah, as an engineer.
an
Yeah.
engineer.
Harris, if nobody knows,
L3
they're
Harris, yeah.
big
The
defense
top five, maybe,
contractor.
defense contractor now with L3?
Yeah, they probably
With L3, I think they're
yeah.
top five now. If they build jets.
But
And
the
my,
semiconductor division semiconductor business is very up and down. So they wanted to sell
is that,
semiconductor.
matter of fact, I read a lot about
Yeah.
Taiwan and all that kind of
So
stuff.
they sold a semiconductor group.
Is that
to a
what you
private
did?
equity firm, and it became Intersil.
Is that what you did, though?
Yeah, I was part of that when
Okay.
I went with Intersil, and then during the dot-com boom, we IPO'd and was the largest.
Who IPO? You mean L3 Harris?
No.
No,
Intersil.
Intersil, who you went with. So
Right.
so you jumped ship.
Right.
I
The
mean-
whole business, all of semiconductor got sold to a private equity firm.
Okay, gotcha.
For three.
So L3 Harris, or Harris at
300?
the time, they pulled that
It was
out.
about $350 million. They paid Harris, and 6 months later, during the dot-com boom, we IPO'd with a market cap of about $4 billion. We were the largest
Talk about a
public semiconductor IPO at that time.
Wow.
And hit bigger than when Intel IPO, but I mean, it's the time.
And what
value
year is
money.
this?
So that was 2000, March of 2000, we IPO with a market cap of about $4 billion. 6 months earlier, Harris had sold us for $350 million.
Wow. The reason I only say that when he's talking about IPO, the mob on Wall Street, if you guys know about that, when they were doing IPOs and they were fake, and I know a friend hung a guy outside the window in Wall Street, and that's what it is. It was a $200 million thing they were whacking him for. And it was IPOs. I loved. I laughed my balls off.
Yeah, it was very But
Did
that
you
was
guys
the
hang
dot-
anybody out the window?
No, it was the dot com. It was the dot
Laz
com.
would have. We're going to get in your story. Yours is a crazy story.
I don't have any.
Go
So
ahead.
then my Wi-Fi business, I ran that business. We actually got sold twice to two different companies, the Wi-Fi business. And then the last company out in California bought us. And I said I had enough, and I semi-retired, and then I got called to go work at Authentech, and that's how I got in the fingerprint business. It was somebody I actually met during orientation in 1980 out of college.
Isn't that
He was
great?
the
I love it,
CEO.
connections.
He was the CEO
I love
of
that,
Authentech.
man.
He was the CEO of Authentech.
And it tells
So
you
the fact that you guys open your cell phones today with your thumbprint,
that was him.
that's Larry. That's
So
Larry. That's Authentech.
your company, I guess, your company invented that, or
So it's interesting. Harris used to have, because they had all this technology they were developing for the government, and they actually created their own venture capital arm to try to commercialize technologies. So live TV, the thing in the back of the JetBlue, they were one of the first with the
JetBlue. I'm a JetBlue flyer.
That was Harris Technology. That
JetBlue?
Like the video screens.
Until you, did you guys see what happened to me on JetBlue though? I went off. They kicked me off a plane. I almost had fights with cops about 4 months ago.
And we're supposed to be surprised because why? I'm kidding.
No, really. I got kicked off a flight, and
The movie wasn't working right. It was skipping.
No, they said that I was out of control, and then I wanted to fight a cop afterwards, and Nick
You're
trying
lucky.
to keep me.
You're lucky you didn't get arrested.
Oh,
Yeah.
I just step in between him and a cop, like this close to each other,
Why?
yelling at
Why?
each other.
What was the problem?
I was like, I don't think we need to be doing
I might have had a
any of
few
this.
too many, but
Yeah, I get it.
anyway.
So Harris actually,
I like JetBlue because of that first airline with the plane.
So Harris actually seeded. They had fingerprint technology. They were doing work with the FBI. It was called the APHIS system. But you had to do that was the big fingerprint with all the fingers. APHIS.
Like this.
The APHIS.
I'm one of the first federal
So,
inmates to use that.
They said, "Can we commercialize this and make it for mainstream?" So they actually funded a startup called Authentech. That was Harris that owned the majority of Authentech originally. That was before I had joined them. But they pulled some people from Harris to run it, and I joined in 2005, and then Authentech IPO in 2007. That was one of the reasons they brought me in, because I had experience with the Intersil IPO. So we IPO'd in 2007. And
See, the
then-
iPhone wasn't. The only reason I know these dates, Laz, is because I got out of prison in August 24th of 2007, and there was no phone, Laz. There was no iPhone.
Right.
I had a flip phone. I remember the Razor flip phone. The first thing that I fucking wanted. How come these fucking fat fingers touch a Razor flip phone? But there was no iPhone at this time. If you remember, there was no iPhone.
2010. I
Is
think
when
it was.
2000.
I think.
And so you didn't even know what an iPhone was either when you went to 2007.
No, when we
Where
were,
does the fingerprint come
When
in?
the iPod come out?
So they were back then. It was swipe. You had the little sliver, and you had to swipe your finger along. So the main market was laptops. We had
I remember those.
we had 80% of the laptop
Yeah, you're
market.
old
You pull your finger through the
Laz,
laptop.
you're old too. We're gonna get.
We had
Getting there.
80% of that
Getting there.
laptop market. We pretty much owned that market, and then we also did what they called large touch, the bigger ones, the bigger sensors for government ID programs and things. So we had a bunch of different sizes. We were trying to get into mobile phones for a long time. We sold Motorola, Samsung, Lenovo, but they just weren't
Advanced
embracing
enough?
it.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
they just didn't get it. And we came up with a small touch sensor that we had used for other customers. We tried to get it in BlackBerry on the BlackBerry, and they didn't want to do it. So we showed it to Apple in December of 2011.
They're only out a year, Apple, right?
We have been talking to them for a while with the swipe, but they didn't
on the
like
computers, right? Because
Yeah.
they didn't have an iPhone.
But this is the iPhone, not the iPod Touch.
They had an
No,
iPod.
this is well before all that.
Well, because the iPod Touch was all touchscreen with the
Right.
swipe
Yeah, but they
and
didn't have
everything.
a thing to
Yeah.
authenticate your
Yeah,
your
no,
fingerprint.
I know. Yeah.
So we were talking to them for different devices they had, but they didn't like the swipe because they just said it's not a good user experience, and they were right. So we came up with a small touch. We tried to sell it to a lot of different cell phone manufacturers because it was more expensive because it was more area. The silicon area was bigger, so it was more expensive. So we showed it to Apple. We come up with a mock-up, got it in an iPhone under the button, showed it to them in December. They said it's not ready for prime time. We came back in January.
1
Got
month
excited.
later?
Well, yeah, we worked all through Christmas. We did the death march to get it ready for the demo, and they liked it, and then they started talking to us about licensing and things, and that turned into a deal, and we had a deal by July, from January to July, and then we closed the deal in October.
Of 11.
Of 12,
Of
and then
12.
it ended up in the iPhone in 2013.
What's amazing in the story to me is it wasn't long after that they came with the eyes, correct?
The face?
The face, face
Yeah,
recognition.
face recognition.
No, it was,
Because,
it was
I mean,
quite a while.
It took a while.
The reason I asked you that is, if you waited too long, you're fucked because there's no more touch.
Early face was really bad because we were looking at all the technology. It was kind of funny. Early face technology, you could take a picture of you, make a Xerox copy, and put it on, and it would authenticate you.
Oh,
Okay. So then
that's a bad security.
So then they came back and said, okay, we'll look for blinking eyes. So then you could take the picture of you, cut out the eyes, and blink, and it would let you in. So the technology had not been really secure. What's the Face ID on the iPhone is so sophisticated. They're putting thousands of dots on your face, looking for muscle structure, looking for your eyes.
It's like the Tesla
it's
autopilot thing.
infrared. It
Really?
works
Is that what it
at
is
night.
now? You have a Tesla that drives itself, actually.
Oh yeah.
But
Autopilot.
now, with your face, I mean, obviously, did you guys have tech people that made that stuff, or did you contract that out?
What?
Like the touch. That was invented by somebody.
That was
Is
all
your
Fintech.
guys?
Yeah,
I mean,
Fintech.
you had tech people that
Fintech.
made that shit.
And the hardest
I mean,
part,
you didn't do it, obviously.
No, I didn't. I wasn't the smart guy.
No, you were very smart. I stopped that. But even
But
the
people
face
don't
stuff.
realize the hardest part was, see, back in the day, they used something they call minutia points. You have little discrete points on your finger, but to do that, you need a big area of the sensor. So they were
Yeah,
big
like this.
to get all these
Look.
points. And we
I know
had
how to do that. It's
We
called
had what we
finger-
called a pattern matcher. So we could, you think how small the iPhone button is? We could tell your fingerprints unique just by that little area because we looked at the patterns and all.
How big? How big is that area? I mean, like
It's small, under the button. It's a little.
It's got to be
square
like,
under the button.
so you're right.
But to do
when
it
I
with
did
that kind of
fingerprints,
accuracy,
yeah.
and so we had been doing that pattern matcher. We were one of the few who did it. It was like by the time we got to Apple, it was like the 5th or 6th generation of that pattern matcher. Nobody in the world could do that. And even if Apple could have copied the silicon,
But you had a
out of it,
patent,
we
obviously.
had tons of patents and all. But it's Apple. There's ways to work around.
Yeah, the richest
So,
company,
that
cash
was,
company in the world.
Yeah, that was our
but not
paranoia.
back then. Back then, they were just
They were always innovating.
They were new
I
in
mean,
cell
they had
phones.
Did you ever meet Steve Jobs?
I did meet Steve Jobs,
Wow.
but not for Fingerprint. It was for Wi-Fi. Back when Apple didn't have much market share, and we were trying to push Wi-Fi everywhere. As ridiculous as it sounds, we were trying to convince people of the value of Wi-Fi. And I have slides I've made I could show you where we said you can be in a coffee shop, at the airport, on the go. Why do we need this? You just plug in Ethernet and you're fine. Believe it or not, we were trying to convince people about Wi-Fi. And at the time, there were these huge PCM-CIA cards you had to slide in for Wi-Fi. So Steve Jobs, the MacBook hardly had any share. He calls us in. There was only 2 of us that even had Wi-Fi chipsets. And he said, I'm going to be the first one to integrate it into a MacBook. And he said, while Gates and Intel have their fingers up their ass talking about it, I'm going to do it. So he was not the nicest guy in the meeting.
I just was wondering how he was.
He was
He
Steve
was
Jobs.
eccentric. I read his book.
And he was.
Did he smell? Because they talked about how
I didn't sniff. I didn't.
Close enough to smell.
You know what I mean?
I didn't sniff.
You read that,
I
I'm
didn't.
sure.
I didn't sniff him. He was on the other side. But we were all in our suits, looking like choir boys. He had ripped jeans and flip flops, and he walks in, and we had the president of Harris with us. Goes to hand him a card, and he says, "I'm just going to throw it out, so just keep it." That's how the meeting started with our president. And then he starts talking. We take out our notebooks like dweebs and start taking notes. And he goes, "Stop right here." He goes, "What I'm saying is very simple. If you have to write it down, you guys might as well leave right now." So that was 30. That was 30 seconds in.
Wow, I love that.
But I will say
That's
twice now, I was involved. He said, I'm going to put Wi-Fi and integrate it in a laptop, and it's going to change everything. Because he was trying to angle for getting it very cheap as well. We didn't win the business because we couldn't match his price, but it changed the Wi-Fi market. Just like on the iPhone, it changed the fingerprint market. So, you got to give him props for,
Good.
You
got to give
kind of
props,
made the
yeah.
market twice.
So now you at least got an intro into Apple, so they know who you are and everything. At least that. I mean, that's really. So do you consider? Then you end up selling to Apple, correct?
Correct.
The whole company.
The whole company.
Just the whole. They said, "Hey, I want to buy you."
And we,
Mr. Beast style.
You know,
Mr. Beast
we had a
is.
$100 million business selling to all the laptop guys and whatever. That's it. Shut all that down. We're done. This is ours. Nobody else
Get
can
out.
have it.
Get out of the building, pretty much.
Yeah.
Was that an exciting day? I mean, think about that. I mean, did you think of that? I mean, I don't even think of selling.
It's anticlimactic.
I'm going to ask you about that because you did something like
that.
that. And that's it, dude, because I'm at that point. Listen, I got 12 years less than you in business. Well, a lot more, because I never was a businessman in my life. But
you know, it was the most stressful time of my life. Those 4 months, you know, it was just drained me. You know, it was nonstop. But the thing was, okay, do we want to sell to them? Then the technology that's only going to them, or do we want to sell to the world? The problem was there was no world market for fingerprint on phones.
that's crazy.
You have one
so we
market
sold
channel.
to Apple when one of our competitors was coming up with the touch, different technology. They were worth nothing, and then within 15 months after we sold to Apple, they were worth $2 billion because they had the rest of the world. You know what I mean? There was
Right,
Apple
like
and the rest-
if you would have waited,
ones.
you could have sold
Yeah,
$1
but
billion.
somebody had to go first to make the market, right? It would have been good if somebody else went, and then we would have been in good.
You know,
shape.
what kind of fries?
that's a good
What
one.
kind of
Yeah.
fries your noodle is? If they wouldn't have sold that to Apple, would the competitor have been a $2 billion market cap?
No, they wouldn't have.
They wouldn't have,
There was
because
no
Apple,
market.
you would have been.
No, but
The
Apple.
next one in
Somebody has to build the market for that, right?
Somebody
And
has to
then-
pave the way. They always
right.
say.
Somebody has to
Yeah.
pave the way.
But you know what was fascinating? Japan was always, back in the day, leading edge. So our biggest customer for fingerprint in a phone was Fujitsu, selling through NTT Docomo. So like in 2007, you could pay and go in a subway or go to a vending machine in Japan with fingerprint. Back in 2007.
So they
it was
had the
basically
technology.
Apple Pay, if you will, back then. But it was not, you know, we'd sell 5 million to them.
No, I'm good.
5 million
Thank you.
sensors a year. You know, now there's 1 billion gets sold a year, you know? It was nothing.
You know, it obviously what you did, your timing. I think he's right. What you just said is everything has to do with timing.
Absolutely,
You know, really.
100%.
You told me that once. You said, you know, and then he ended up getting the biggest cash company in the world to buy it, really. And obviously, look what Apple today. I mean, Apple is one of the biggest companies in the world.
And you know what? They paid 370 million for the company, and
They paid $370. Did they pay you cash?
That's nothing compared to
Yeah.
what they're paying.
Did they
for
pay you
those.
like a check? Does a check come in?
I didn't see the financing, but yeah, I'm sure money came in.
A fucking
somewhere.
check comes
Yeah,
in for
it's-
$370.
It wasn't like
They're
what
like
you're-
Scud missiles.
How much could you hide?
It
Look at
wasn't-
me, a gangster.
It wasn't what
How
you're
much could you
used to. They
hide?
didn't come in with
Zero.
duffel bags of hundreds.
Oh,
and
they didn't
stuff
do like
that.
a-
No, like what you're used to.
No, but so they buy you, you're done. You're literally done. Correct? You don't have a job. One day you got a job, it's all done.
So
signed,
I
your next-
stayed for 6 months, but
Oh,
see, here
okay.
in Melbourne, you know, there's still an Apple facility. We have really, really good engineers, and even though they're out in Silicon Valley, you know, they
But there's no Apple store around here.
no, but
It's
the
not the
Apple
store.
development, the engineers are
The
still
engineers
still
are-
here?
Oh, yeah, they doubled the size of that. They remodeled
In
it.
the same building?
They were same building, and they realized, you know what? There's really good engineers here. Number one, and number two, you don't get the turnover you get in Silicon Valley. It's not like semiconductor guys can go down the street.
Right. I never thought of that.
So 10 years later, that place is still thriving as an Apple facility. It's not very well known, but it's.
Do you miss it? Do you miss any part of it? I mean, I know you're retired, you do well, and all that kind of stuff.
He's an action junkie, this guy.
No,
Of course he
I,
misses it.
and I am too, and you are. We all are, guys. Let's face it. I'm learning from both of you, and I learn a lot from both of
the
you.
grind I don't miss. I mean, I worked, you know, we all work hard. I worked hard and long.
A lot of hours, yeah.
No, and
Sure.
I look at me. I mean, I understand that. No, I'm not saying, you know, I'm 12 years behind because I prison. But I love what I do. I'm sure you guys both. I'm gonna
No,
talk
I
to you
loved
next.
what I did, but you know, I did it for what was that?
20 years.
35 years.
And then you're tired, so you're just. It's. I mean, I can't imagine me building you wherever I'm at, and then saying okay, because you know people approach people for, especially YouTubers,
100%,
for their libraries, for everything we do. I can't even imagine me. I remember turning down even in the beginning. I started blowing up, and I get a company call. Oh, we'd like to buy your library, or you. And it's Peter, my friend, who built his business. And he says, Larry, your money ain't now. Your money is when you build a library, because they're gonna take every one of your videos. They're gonna cut them up. They're gonna do this, because they got divisions that do that. I said, what am I gonna do? I mean, I don't want to rob stores. I don't want to do shit. You know,
I'm done with that part.
You know, I don't like
I
that.
could do a pawn shop, but you know, it's a little too
hey,
small
Chop,
for
let me tell you
me.
something. You want stress? Do my old business. That's stress. Now, I love that, and thank you for telling it. Laz, I want to talk to you because I know you a little bit of your story, most of it. what really, and I got to say this honestly, because we're sitting having a few drinks, you guys are the most down-to-earth two dudes that I like to hang with.
I think
and party and meaning smoke cigars, bullshit, have a good time. And you guys are, you never look down on me as an ex-con, both of you, never. And Chach, you know that. I'll help you guys, and you will help me. I know that. And it's just about, like, it's rare, because I know, trust me, I know even people we know. An ex-con, you know what I mean. It's there, and it doesn't bother me, trust me. I don't give a fuck. We all put our pants, we all jerk off, we all do everything fucking the same fucking way. So let me get that real right out the back. I try to tell young people like Nick, because Nick is in the ground floor. We are a ground floor. We have 5 guys, got some guys in Boston working for us and stuff. Nick is in the ground floor of what we're doing. And Absolutely. You guys know that's how you become mega wealthy. You get, right now, you get stock, because we're putting that and everything. You can even tell him. I mean, and he's a hard worker. The kid's got that work ethic that it's hard to find in people.
Well, I think a lot of
I want you to tell the people, first of all, Laz, what did you do? You're close.
I did.
We're the old guys. He's the old guy.
I did all kinds of stuff. I had a different path. Larry comes from an engineering world, went to school, educated, had opportunities with big companies. I was too stupid. So
He's a street guy.
I'm a street guy. I got a PhD.
Yeah, I know.
Pair of posthole diggers. So I dug ditches is what I did. So
no, you got a street degree.
From that, you learn a couple things. You learn how to read people. You learn how to take advantage of opportunities. Yeah. And one of the things that you're talking about, how do people, especially with young people, you look at them and you say, they look at what everybody else does and they want the money or they want the success. Or
they want it right away.
They want it right away. But the reality is that really successful people, if you look at self-made people like Larry, myself, yours, these people.
Now, don't put me there yet.
They don't do it. They're not doing it really as a means to an end. They're just going through the process and they're grinding and they're grinding and before you know it, you're 20 years into it. Fuck, man, I'm pretty good at this. Hey, maybe it might be worth something to somebody else other than me. And then before you know it, you start because you don't know, especially me, you don't have access to all these things. So you start paying for consultants to come in and tell you, hey, you should do this. And you go through consultant.
I was just going to ask you something because I'm learning this now. And you remember, Chach, when I first started, Chach says to me, Larry, keep doing what you're doing. Just keep working.
Just keep
working.
Grinding.
That's what you get. That was your biggest advice to me.
He said the key word. And, I have nieces and nephews, Uncle Larry, how would you do? He said, every day I went in, especially in semiconductor, they would have layoffs every 2-3 years. I said, I'm going to try to be the most valuable guy every day. Yeah. But it was 20 years. He used the right word, grinding. Like that interstellar IPO, that was after 21 years of grinding. It's not, it doesn't just. It just doesn't happen. But you got to just keep grinding.
You had a career though, no matter what, if you got fired, let's just say you got laid off. You're an engineer, you're a pretty intelligent guy, you understand that market, they get paid pretty good. He's different.
Yes.
And I'm not saying you're both very successful.
No, you're
He's
right.
more of a street guy. Now, I'm different too because
I was in a more of a structured
right. So you had I call it
I had a career path.
A cushion path.
Yeah, well, you did. A career path.
Right. You're a street guy. And I know you pretty good, lad.
Both you guys just push your mics out. You guys are talking.
Oh.
Okay. Sorry, man. Good. I know you because I'm a street guy. You're a street guy.
Sure.
You had no fucking fall. Like, I don't think of a fallback. My fallback is I'm going to rob everybody. And I don't mean it to be funny. If you ever see me come here in a 3-piece suit,
that's a career,
get the fuck away from me.
path, I guess. The reality is,
I love you guys. That's why.
You do something and then you find out that you're good at it. And then, you apply all the things.
But what did you do? See, that people are going to want to know, he says that, but what did he do?
So my dad's, I saw my dad, immigrant to this country.
And you're immigrant from?
Cuba.
Okay.
Yeah. So I saw my dad work, 2 or 3 jobs. So the work ethic was kind of instilled, and he worked construction. He was a glazer. So glass and glazing is a little bit different than your regular construction job. You deal with glass, whether it's building, storefronts at Circle K or a glass building or whatever it is. So I saw that, and I kind of grew up hearing about it. And when I got old enough to start working, that was the natural progression. I wasn't going to go to, into engineering or anything like that because I just didn't have that opportunity laid out for me. But I did go into construction, and I kind of knew a little bit about it. So
construction, you're what age?
I'm 18 years old. 19
okay, out of high school? Did you graduate high school?
I'm out of high school.
Did you graduate?
I graduated high school, yeah. I
went
to college for a little bit. And I said, you know what?
Now I got a college degree.
It's not for me. I had to work. My parents didn't have means. I didn't have, a formal education, or my parents, because they were immigrants, they didn't have that push.
Hey, Nick.
Yeah, I'll take a little ice. I didn't have that push to
Appreciate
have
it. Thank
them
you.
push me to get an education. Everything was like, we need to make a living. We need, food on the plate. So all of it was, and I wasn't going to burden, because I saw their struggle. I wasn't going to burden them. And that's just me with having, going to school and having them pay or, struggle with that part of it. They have their own struggles. Work 3 jobs. Mom, stay-at-home mom.
Love that.
I'm not going to just go in there and say, hey, by the way, I'm going to need 10 grand to go to school every year. You
didn't come with a silver spoon in your mouth, did you?
So for me, it was a little bit
None
different.
of you did, actually.
For me, it was a little different. So I said, and because of my background, because of what I saw every day with my thank you. So what I saw every day, I was like, you know what, I got to go out and get a job, and what do I got to do? I started going out. I went up to Atlanta for a while, and I started building custom homes because I had some background.
Just from like guts work, meaning like
Yeah.
you went into a place and said, hey, listen, I know construction a little bit. I'm not good, but.
I started out as just a regular old laborer Joe, digging ditches and humping plywood.
What was the
whatever.
term you said earlier? Because I wanted the audience to know. You were doing something. It was just called what?
Digging ditches.
No, but
PhD. He had a PhD.
I had a
He has a
PhD. Had a
PhD.
pair of
What is it?
Post hole diggers.
Postal.
Post hole digger.
Digging holes, digging ditches.
PhD.
Pouring concrete. So I went up to Atlanta for a while. My cousin was living up there, and I started building custom homes. And I go to work for a subcontractor that he had like 3 or 4 crews of Mexican kids that were building these, really nice houses. And this guy was an American guy, and he was, he hired me on as a laborer. He didn't speak one lick of Spanish. And now I knew Spanish and English, and here he is with, 3 or 4.
You're bilingual, so now you're translator.
So I'm the translator, and I'm kind of like the go-between. And I didn't know a whole lot about, construction. I knew a lot about glazing, but I didn't know construction, general construction. So the guys that were working general construction for the guy building custom homes, they kind of taught me. The Mexicans kind of brought me in. I was Spanish. I knew good Spanish, and I was kind of like the go-between. I would tell them what the guy wanted and this and that. And it was a big relief for them because it was like pulling teeth before. The guy was a raging alcoholic, and he would show up 6:30. By 11 o'clock he was in the tank and passed out in the truck. But
That's the owner.
That's the owner, yeah. But he had all these guys that were willing to bust their asses for him, and they were doing pretty good on their own before I got there. And then we really started ramping it up when I got there. And before you know it, I become like the lead. I'm not the lead guy for him, but I'm like the guy that's taking the orders from the owner and then taking them and telling him.
You got
and
a lot of value.
I'm
You're
learning,
smart,
and I'm
man.
learning, and I'm learning.
Like me with the mobsters, really.
So I start learning this stuff, and I got pretty good at it. 2 fingers to forehead. I start learning stuff, and I start putting it together. They start making some money, but this guy I could not work. I couldn't stay there a long time because he was just abusive as hell, and he just treated everybody like dirt. But
look at the valuable lesson.
But the value,
learn about people.
The value there was, learn from the guys that are actually doing the work. So soon after that, I had an opportunity to come down and start working for another guy that had just started a company.
Now, this is in Atlanta?
No, this is down in Florida. So
back to home. You went back to Miami?
Yeah, I had my girlfriend at the time, which is my wife today. I've been with her for 32 years, but she kind of roped me to come back down south. And this guy just started a company. You should come and help him. I'm like, I'm 22 years old. I'm making $23 an hour in Atlanta.
Back then.
That's
30 years ago, man. That's 30 years ago.
I'm king shit,
yeah.
So I'm living a pretty good life in Atlanta. So this is back 93, 90.
I was in Atlanta myself in 97.
Yeah, but you were locked up in all.
I was in a penitentiary.
It's a different deal. Yeah.
I was getting like 30 cents an hour.
Yeah,
so I come back
making
down.
license plates or something.
I come back down and I start working for this guy, and I'm telling my wife at the time, she's like, I just want you to come down, and we had a long distance relationship, and she's like, I want you to come down and work for this guy. He just started his company, and I was like, well, what does he do? Well, he pressure washes racetrack gas stations. They had just started racetrack.
Yeah.
So he's
Racetrack, the company?
The chain.
The
The chain.
the gas
They're
station.
everywhere.
And I'm like, I'm not really a pressure washer guy. And she goes, I go, well, what does it pay? Fuck, pay me. I'll come. I'll do anything. She goes, well, it doesn't pay very much. You just started. And I'm like, fuck, that doesn't sound very good.
But you're also thinking there's a woman there you love. I got to
like,
say, both of you, lads, you both got great wives.
Oh, yeah.
I know
She's-
both your
she's-
wives
she's
very
a
well.
scholar. She's a
And
scholar.
just saying, that takes a lot
Oh, yeah.
because they stood by you guys when you probably working zillions of hours, and really, you got both good wives. I know them. Maybe they think I'm nuts, but you got good wives.
They love
They
it.
know I'm nuts, but no.
Carol's awesome. So she tells me, yeah, but you can be close to me. So, I come down.
It wasn't hard.
So I
It
meet-
really wasn't hard, people.
So
Trust me. She's beautiful. She's a looker, too.
she's
So it wasn't
she's
not
a
hard for
wonderful-
either of these guys.
We're online, right? So Polish
You
Italian lady,
are.
beautiful woman. She's great. So I come over and I meet these guys. I meet the first crew that I'm on. I'm used to, working, in a subdivision, multi-million-dollar houses back then, 3-4-story houses. And I ride up to middle of Alligator Alley. We're gonna go work at, and if you don't know where Alligator Alley is, it's between Fort Lauderdale and Naples, and it's just a big stretch of nothing road. It's called Alligator.
What year
Alley.
is this now? Now you're back in
This
town.
is like
at-
95, 94.
Oh, still 25 years from 30 years from now.
Yeah.
Where are we at?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so
28.
It's 28 years.
Look, you good at math?
So I come over and I meet these guys. This looked like a pedophile van, dude. They open
White van.
She drops me off in the middle of
Scooby-Doo van.
Alligator Alley. We're gonna go and work at Big Cypress, which is
I know it.
reservation.
Oh, wow.
Indian reservation. And I have no idea what I'm gonna do. I'm coming to meet these guys. I talk to the owner of the company. Whatever. I meet these guys. There's a van, unmarked van. They open the door. There's all kinds of tools and shit everywhere. And there's this fucking guy that's got a beard like down to here. And another
ZZ
guy.
Top
Is he a white? Is he
ZZ Top
big
beard.
guy.
Oh, is he a white guy?
Two big rednecks,
A big-
So here I am, this
Top.
brown kid, young guy, and they're like, I'm the helper again, and I didn't care. I was like, what are we doing? Get in, we're going, So I'm like, Carol
freaking
waves,
kidnapped.
Carol waves,
Kidnapped.
she's gone, And I get in with these guys, and we go out to Big Cypress, and they're going to build this massive, huge playground system out there in the middle of the Cypress, Big Cypress,
Oh, wow.
for the Indian kids, So we did that, and I came back, and I'm like, I just, worked, I worked for, I don't know, 3
Was
or
it
4.
backbreaking work?
Yeah, it was.
Okay, I just want to know. So you're one of those kids. I tell young people today, work hard and just people want you to show up and work
It'll
hard.
take you where you.
A lot of
It'll
times
take
kids
you
do
where
that.
you
It's not
need to be, I guess. So I did it for a while, and as I did it, I got pretty good. I learned from the guys around me. I learned from all the older people that had all the experience, and I got good. You listen. Hey, I want to hold the clipboard. You can't fucking hold the clipboard. I hold the clipboard. You dig the ditch. But I want to hold the clipboard. You can't hold the clipboard unless I hold it. Well, how do I get to hold the clipboard? You got to do it for 10 years before you hold the clipboard. Fuck, I'll dig the ditch. So you dig the ditch and you learn. And you learn it over time. Repetition.
I dug ditches.
Well, media came along, and now nobody wants to dig the ditch.
No, it's not
so,
even that. So
I
much.
dug
I think
ditches.
everybody wants it. Now.
Well, yeah,
want
they see
superstars,
these viral kids.
But-
being
Oh no, like he's right.
invest in
It's
my
hard because
coin.
I've done my share of digging ditching.
So over the course of time, I ended up, I got myself in a position where I was able to buy the company from the guy.
Wait a minute. Stop. That does not. You missed something. 'Cause I'm telling you, the audience, stop it, last. Because I know you, and you're such a guy, but you can't tell my audience. I worked hard, and then I got a position to buy the company.
Well, no.
Something
what ended
happened
up
in
happening-
between.
You make yourself invaluable, right?
Right.
Exactly.
And you make yourself invaluable to the company, and then the owner eventually said, "Hey, listen, he very smart guy. He said, listen, he didn't say this out and out, but this is what I gathered. I can't afford to lose you. You run all the crews here. There was 16 crews on the road.
And how long are you working there?
I was there. I was 24 and 30 years old, so I'm there for a while.
Oh, you're there for 6 years. Okay.
He gives me 20% of the company. Just gifts it to me,
So you don't quit.
so I don't
Really?
because I'm like he knows I'm making my own contacts. I'm bringing in business. I've got all the crews.
See, there's what he's missing out telling people. His communication skills.
So the owner, being the smart guy that he is, I'm an earner, I'm a soldier. He's like, I'm going to give you 20% of the company. And this guy wasn't a businessman per se. He was a musician. So he kind of, we kind of muddled through it for a while. And he gives me 20%. And me, being a young guy, I was like, yeah, I'll fucking take it. Hell yeah. So we did that. And then I got on the road.
Now stop. Are you at this point? Are you getting work? Are you getting contracts? Are you doing different?
Oh, yeah.
You get what I mean? You're not just digging ditches or running a
No,
crew.
well, it's still I'm a what they would call a working manager. So you're out on a job. And back then there was no we had like Mavica cameras. You would take pictures of your work. They had the little 3.5-inch floppy disk that nobody knows what that is.
I know.
And then you had like a Nextel phone. You'd call
it's a what push
a radio.
call.
So I had
Oh my God.
I had
Walkie-talkie, like.
yeah, 2 radios, a camera. So I was working, and at the same time I was running 4 or 5 crews. There was another guy that was running 4 or 5 crews.
So now you're really mad. You're going to crew, making sure they're doing everything it's supposed to.
No. I'm running my own jobs and still making money, but I'm basically consulting with all these new guys that are coming into the company.
And you're doing that because you get 20%.
Correct. I have a vested interest in making sure that these guys succeed. The more that we do, the more that I get paid.
That's what I tell him.
So you got to kind of duplicate your efforts. Anything that you do, you try to do more than one time so that you can get the return. So after a while of that, I just saw the opportunity, and from that business, we spun off, and we were building playgrounds for McDonald's.
You missed that. Now, you say you spun off. You're still working for the guy with the beard.
Yes.
Okay. You didn't spin off. He or you came, and somebody came with him and said...
We grew the business to the point where somebody came to us and said, hey, listen, man, you guys know so much about this product that you're putting in for all of these other vendors.
And did they come to you or did they go to him?
No, they came to... Well...
I mean, let's say, you went and got them.
The deal for us was we were doing a bunch of work. I was doing work. We were doing work for McDonald's, and we were doing work for Burger King, and we're building all these very expensive playground systems, right? So after a while, I got really tired of being on the road, and all the crews were worn out because when you deal with McDonald's, they're selling 59-cent hamburgers, and they're the largest landowner in the country, commercial landowner in the country. So everything is micromanaged. So the first job you'd take with them would be, we're going to pay you $5,000 to build this. By the time you're doing it for 2 years, they're building $2,500. They're allowing you to build $2,500 for it. So they'd shave you down. So they measure the ketchup, they measure the mustard, they measure the subcontractors. So that's the way it works. And
no, what I'm getting at, listen, you're definitely, I know you, but how does it get to they're coming to you? It's got to be either your communication skills or your connection skills, people skills.
No, so you're doing X amount of volume of work, and we're in the South, so it's not like you're building stuff up in Minnesota where there's 6 months of work. We're building it year in, year out, so we got really, really good at it. So they start taking notice. These guys, hey, we're going to...
Who's taking notice?
The manufacturers that we're working for.
Okay, that's what I want to get.
And these manufacturers have reps that sell product.
That's what you're
right.
getting.
And
so you knew to go to that guy or get with that guy.
We're basically dealing with all the reps and doing all the work for all the reps that are selling all this stuff. But the manufacturers are taking notice, and they, some of those reps are not very good. They kind of suck. So the manufacturers said, hey, listen, these guys are building it. They're great. They're great with the customers. They make money. They make us money. They make us look good. Why don't you guys sell for us, and we'll teach you how to sell, and you guys, keep doing what you're doing, and you can sell for us and build for us and just service the whole thing. So that's kind of where it took off. And once we started doing that, there was an opportunity to kind of spin off the construction part of it to a rep firm where we were actually selling the product. And from selling the product, and I don't want to bore you to tears, but from selling the product, we had the sales part, we had the installation part, we had the service part. So we were doing this whole fiefdom thing. And from there was opportunities to develop products within that same area.
And obviously you developed a product, which is the product, the service. And that's how but where's the point in your head you're saying, okay, I got to buy this company or somehow get more of this company from that guy? Like, I look at, I always equate everything to either the mob or my life. What I do now.
It's about effort, right? So when I started thinking about it, it wasn't like.
And you're 30 years old, so you're still a young guy.
I'm making plenty of money. I'm never home. I spent 80 days at home out of a year, so it sucked. So I never thought about it like I'm going to take my partner out and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. It was just about effort. I'm putting in so much effort, and this guy's putting in this much effort.
You have to be recognized.
My effort was like drowning the other guy's effort, and when it drowns the other guy's effort, and it wasn't malicious and it wasn't like intentional, but all the business that was running, it wasn't being brought to the guy that owned the majority shares. It was being brought to me, and then I would have to go and sit and fucking baby step the owner through what we were planning on doing or what the stuff was happening. And again, very, very smart guy. He started realizing that, you know what?
This kid knows his shit.
I'm
That's
gonna get out of this, and I'm gonna make a mint because I'm gonna ride this pony all the way home.
Now, when you ended up buying the company with the
Right.
guy, obviously you figured out how much they're making doing stuff. Because you're not like, I look at me, what I've learned in business. A lot of my learning comes from guys like him, or you just even bullshit one for 10 minutes. Right. You see me, and I asked, what was your best move? How do you do it? And he told me a few things, Larry. Keep doing what you're doing. You know what you're doing.
Grind.
And grind. I remember that. And I'm a grinder. If nothing else, I'm a grinder. And I made my mistakes. Fuck. I make them all the time. I overdo I buy everything instead of should get. So much you learn in business. That's just life. You learned it at 30. Right? So you're saying to yourself, how do I get to that point? I'm trying to do it because I'll tell you a quick story what happened with a kid. I had a guy come to me since I've been out, and this is years ago, and he goes, Larry, do you know anyone who can give this kid, he's an ex-con, a job? Right. I said, yeah, I got a guy who owns a lawn service. And he said, yeah. So the guy worked for the lawn. I said to the ex-con, I said, listen, you had your one break. Fuck it, this is it. If you fuck up, you're gone. End of story, you're gone. Right. But if you work hard, don't complain. Just show up every day.
Grind.
Work hard for this guy, you're going to do good. He does this for 6 months. I only noticed after the fact. The owner of the company says, hey, listen, he goes, I'm going on vacation. Could you watch the crew? They had one crew, but a big crew. He watches the crew. He does great. Doesn't say anything. Doesn't do anything. 6 months after that, because now the guy's there for like a year and a half as a lawn guy. The guy says, hey, listen, I got this little 12 houses that want to be done, but I can't do them. He goes, do you want to do them? But you have to do them on your own time, which is the weekend. And you can't leave me, at least for 6 months or a year, something like that. And he says, sure. He goes, but I don't own a mower. He goes, you have a pickup truck. I'll sell you a mower. I'll sell you the thing. Perfect. Put the thing in the truck. He says, sure. This kid worked his balls off. Does that job on the weekends, does that. Now that kid, and I just saw him not long ago, is in Boca Raton in one of the biggest, that's 4 crews worth millions of dollars, and all from just hard work, and he got like the outskirts of golf courses and stuff in Boca. And he goes, Larry, your advice to me about just shutting up, working hard, showing up. I think it's almost the advice I give to people. Show up every fucking day. Don't bitch.
Yeah.
Because they want it. I call it the now generation. Everybody wants it now. I want to be a millionaire now. I want to be successful now. Yeah, you'll get there if you just keep working hard. You know what you.
Well, he said it earlier, right? He said he worked. It wasn't a means to an end where he had this plan. That was the end goal.
Was that
right?
same with you?
It was just a grind.
Well, I want to end your story. Yeah. I want to ask both of you some good questions. So now you buy the company, right? Do you buy it outright? Does he get out?
Well, what ends up happening is, my partner at the time, the majority partner at the time.
Now you have a partner? Oh, the guy with the beard.
The guy with the beard. Yeah. He's got enough going on with what we're doing, and then we have an opportunity because we had introduced another brand, and I'm trying to put this surfacing thing together, and I get a supplier, and I'm doing what I got to do to kind of develop this product, because I said, we're never going to make any money working for somebody else. We got to work for ourselves. We got to make the product that we're putting in. So eventually I get involved with one of our suppliers that I become friendly with. I travel around the world with them. We're looking for equipment and raw materials to develop this product. And I start learning about that business all the time. Now, at this point, I'm no longer involved in the dig ditching and all that, but I'm still involved in the company. I mean,
but you know every position in the company, don't you?
100%. Yeah, and it's not, and nothing is beneath me. I clean the toilets if you need me to. Whatever needs to be done, I'm going to do it. And it's not because I'm now responsible not just for my livelihood and my income, but I've got there's 60 people that I'm involved in, and they're looking at me like a pit bull, trying to make me hey, where's my paycheck? Where's I got families, and so the business has to evolve, and it was never, I say that now, and I reflect on it because I'm a little older now, but it was never a situation where I said, you know what, I'm going to do this, and it's always about the money. Anybody tells you it's not about the money is lying, but you don't look at it from that perspective, because you don't really make any money until you get there, you know what I mean? And you really never get there. You just don't. You're always grinding. You're always
grinding. You wonder when it's going to hit, but then you realize what you have after that.
But when 20 years later, you go, look at this trail of shit I got here, and it's worth something. And the biggest thing from a business development standpoint, it always has to be worth something to somebody else other than you. If it's only worth something to you, you're going to work that. You're going to work that job for the rest of your life.
Everybody's got to win, is what I say.
And that's okay. If you want to make your own job and you want to work and you want to make a good living for your family, wonderful. But if you want to develop a business and sell it and have it, allow you to retire, you have to develop it so it's worth something to somebody else other than you.
So the old guy wants to get out. ZZ Top wanted to get out.
He never really wanted to get out.
Oh, you bought him out.
But he had to get out. So
you can't put him in concrete like we used to do. So what did you get him out somehow? I mean, what happened? That's important.
So what ends up happening is from the business that we started, which was a construction business, and then the rep firm, which we're repping now, the products that we're building, we develop a product and a brand. And I spent a lot of time on the product and a brand away from this other business, which it was pretty well set up. It was departmentalized. It had enough staff and enough resources.
And I got to stop you 1 second. Where did you learn that? Just from watching? Because I never learned that. I'm learning it. And I make my mistakes along the way. You come from more structured with Harris and all this, divisions. What the fuck I know about divisions? I'm lucky I got my sister that helps me with these other kids because I couldn't handle them.
I guess it was not necessity, but maybe ambition is what happens.
Okay.
You get a little ambitious.
Did you learn from reading or something? I mean,
just school hard knocks, man. It's, one of the things that I learned a lot was from Disney. Disney was one of our big clients in the beginning.
He owns the world.
Those guys, man, they're monsters. They're an octopus. But I learned a lot from them. They just won't take no for an answer. They're going to get what they want, no matter what it is. They're going to do it, and whatever price they're going to pay, they're going to pay it. So, and I didn't realize it. Looking back on it now, I lost a ton of money, developing the surfacing. But they were the impetus behind us developing a surfacing that can support 20,000 foot traffic counts an hour, has
Kids,
the elongation of tear, impact attenuation. All that stuff came from like Disney, because there wasn't really, when we developed that product, which is a surface that kids can fall on and not break their heads, it wasn't really anything out there that you can kind of key off of. So what I had to do was kind of glom on to Disney, and they're like, this is what we want, this is how we want it to react, this is what we want to do.
You ate a lot of shit from Disney to get where you're at.
We lost a lot of money.
I say that.
And they knew it, and this is the big part. Guys that need you more than you need them, they will pay you to learn. So you're either going to go to school and you're going to pay a bunch of money for a degree, and you're going to learn what you learn, and then you're going to go out there
and really learn it.
Well, not have to pay as much, but if you learn it on the street, like standing on the street corner selling drugs, you're going to learn it. The guy's going to rob you. The guy you're going to make money on. So it's the same concept. So these guys allowed us to make money on them, knowing that we were going to fail. But they had a means to an end. They needed this product. They needed to keep kids safe. They wanted
to let the audience know. Laz's company developed a playground, I guess, floor.
Yeah, flooring. A
playground floor, rubbery,
flooring
that you see in all parks now. That if your kid hit his head, he's not going to really get killed.
Pretty much.
It's not concrete.
Yeah, it's called
and it's impact
attenuation. Yeah,
I learned from you.
There's a formula that says that.
That's a whole story in itself.
Yeah,
we're going to get
that's a whole
not
thing.
on this show. But we're going to. What I wanted to do also, so you end up buying the company from ZZ Top, whatever, right? I'm calling ZZ Top.
Yeah.
Well, you did it, and he's right. The long beard.
And I'm going to tell you, I didn't do this on my own. The whole time.
When you say you didn't do it on your own,
no.
First of all, I know your wife Carol had a lot to do with it.
I'm working this thing, and I'm developing this stuff that I have no idea what I'm doing.
You had a partner in that?
The ZZ Top was my only partner.
That's
but what
I
was saying the whole time was I was bringing in consultants that knew more about accounting, that knew more about testing, that knew more
and you went through a lot of everything.
I went through it.
Boy, I'm doing that now, and it's killing me, and I hate it.
You have to pay for it. You have to go to school and pay for it, or you just hire these guys.
I want to kill some of them.
But not all consultants are good consultants, right?
That's right.
So you grind through.
Just spend $25,000 on a consultant.
So you grind through them, and you find the right guy with the right fit. And I was fortunate enough to find the guy that the right guy that can lead me through. And it just people
trial
say
and error?
Trial and error, and it was a great CPA and accountant. He started out doing our taxes once a year, and then he saw the business and he saw the struggle, and he's like, and then the downturn came, and he said, I'm going to get rid of 80% of my clients, and I'm only going to keep the top 20%. The 80% of headaches I'm getting rid of, the top 20% I'm keeping, and my staff can handle that, and I'm going to just take 5 of my top clients, and I'm going to dedicate 1 day a week to them. You're one of my top clients. You want in? I go, you're going to come work for me for 1 day a week? damn right I want you
Damn,
here.
that's a
And I
great
paid,
thing.
him a ship.
So what you're saying is you
luck.
Man, that's
You have to be a little lucky.
Yeah.
No, nobody.
You have to be a little
Everybody
lucky.
knows his luck.
Yes,
I mean, I always tell people
absolutely.
I got lucky.
And you have to, not only is it luck, but you have to recognize it when it hits you in the face. Because somebody tells you, "Hey, I'm going to come and sit in your office one day a week, Wednesday, and it's going to cost you $800 for that day."
Wow, what's
$800
my
bucks.
dough?
Back then, I was like, $800, man. I got to sell a lot
But
of
it
shit
worked.
for $800. But I was like, I probably get $8,000 from this guy for the day that he's going to spend with me. So we went through the books.
What do they say about luck when like preparation and opportunity like hits?
Yeah, meet
It's not really
yeah.
like luck, but
When your preparation meets opportunity,
You know, I
take
look
advantage
at
of it.
even now as a person who's legit. I look at it and say, I look at it.
Semi-legit.
I knew this was-
Semi-legit.
I shouldn't have said that, but okay. I look at it like I know the luck came from me. As crazy as it sounds, is I hit YouTube on COVID. People were locked in their house, so they had to. And I went somewhat. Nick will tell me he knows YouTube very well. Like I hit it, and not many people. No, very, very, very few people have hit it like I did it, where you go to the moon and you get it. And now I understand it, and now you keep developing it because most of the guys who did what I did and stopped. They've stopped. We're still growing slower, but we're growing, and it's a.
I think
you get what I mean. So I
Yeah.
get the luck part. It's now not only recognizing it, is also, in my opinion, is making sure you try enough to go different routes, like you did with the development.
I think
of
you can
something.
go into different rabbit holes, which can spin you out of control and basically tear you apart. Especially people that are headstrong and alpha types that
Not
they have.
me.
I mean,
I'm always joking. Of course it's me.
Everybody, anybody. Just because you're
a
a
successful
business person doesn't mean that you're a good business person. That you're always going to be that. So it's a development thing. So you always have to be striving. You always have to be looking for the next thing.
We're all headstrong guys.
You have to
Let's
look for
face
the
that.
opportunities as they come to you. You can't just say, "I've made it. I've got here. I'm just going to ride this pony." So I developed this product that's awesome and it's wonderful, and the trade shows, there's people,
And it's all over the world now, correct?
it's everywhere. And you know what?
That's amazing.
We in very, very short order, we got taken over and mauled over by bigger guys with more money. But we were like the godfathers of the product.
Are you out?
I'm all the way out.
Okay, you're all there. When did you decide? Okay, you build it, you get it, you develop a product. Now, obviously, you're a very successful guy. How do you say when? The reason I'm asking you, and not only for my audience, myself. At what point do you say?
I'll tell you,
time?
the determining factor for me was when my wife got pregnant and I was going to have a daughter. That was like,
It wasn't a business way.
it wasn't. I
Really?
looked at it and I was like, I looked at my dad. My dad actually ended up working for me, which was great. It was a blessing, But I was like, man, my old man worked till he was 75 years old. I'm not going to be that guy. My dad was never home. I love my father and I worship the ground he walks on, but I didn't get to spend a lot of time with him. I mean, I saw his work ethic and I loved him for it and all that, but I didn't get to know the man until he started working for me. Then
You didn't want that with your
I didn't want
daughter.
that with my daughter. So I said, you know what? I'm going to work till I turn this age. And by that time, I'm hoping to be able to offload all this stuff and be in a position where I can go pick her up at school or I can take her to karate. Whatever I want to do, I'm going to do. So I don't do it today, thankfully, and I'm blessed to even say this, but I do the things that I want to do as opposed to the things that I have to do.
Yeah. Well, I look at both of you guys, obviously.
And timing is a big part of it.
But timing is everything. And I look at you guys for one of your age of retirement, somewhat retirement. I call it retirement. You were 10 years ago or 12 years ago, 2012.
20
was it,
years
Josh?
ago. 20 years ago.
Yeah, it's 12. Yeah, it is. It's 2013. You were 54. You were 50.
53.
53, and you a couple of years already. Or a year ago. Whatever.
I still do. I still do plenty. I mean,
And your stories remind me of like my life because my dad used to hide money from me. That was his job for me, but he did. He actually did. Shocker. And I also look at I don't know if I could retire. I'm not near it because I was building and building and building. And in fact, I'm only doing this for 3 years, 3.5, 4,
That's amazing. That's amazing.
And I look at it like I would never have pictured me in this legitimate shit ever, or you guys. Yeah. But what inspires me is And I hope it inspires young people like Nick and people who are with me and taking the ride and got that work ethic. Because I look at young people and say, the most important talent you can have is that work ethic of not quitting and learning. And you got to be smart. Obviously, you keep making the same mistake, you're a fucking.
You have to be a little. You have
out.
to be a little lucky. You have to have the work ethic. You have to be willing to grind and willing. You know, a lot of, especially if you don't have a family. You know, family makes a big impact. And if you don't have a support structure at home, whether it's a wife or a girlfriend.
You both have great wives. I mean,
that's one of the biggest.
I know Marcia and I know your wife, Carol. And they're just, they're just, I always watch them around you guys, both of you. You don't know. I'm very observant of people. That's one of my talents, I think. That's how I survived prison. People say, Larry, you were a fighter. You did crazy shit. Yeah, but that didn't survive me in prison. What survived me in prison is see the fight before it came, see the riot before it came. You know, feeling your surrounding and understanding. As we say in prisoners, I could feel tension in a room, and I know when it's going to. You got to
know
off.
people,
and
you got to know yourself too.
Absolutely, and I know what I'm capable of doing. Sometimes that's not good, but I look also at the surroundings I'm in and when I'm comfortable. Am I too comfortable? And why am I comfortable?
Right.
So it's just things, and that's why I love you guys. That's why there's certain people I know I could open up to. There's certain people I know I can't, and that's okay. And that's cool.
Right,
you know,
exactly.
that's cool. Well, okay. I wanted my audience to see how you're successful. Young people can get out at that age, because I got a lot of young kids. I got 2 guys. Who are they? The 3 guys or 4 guys in Boston. They work with Nick so much because Nick's running them, and they are freaking go-getters, and they are young. And I'm looking at this, it's easy. Wow, it's like tech shit. You're a tech guy,
but it's like the piñata effect today, where I didn't have that technology and that barrage of influence the whole time trying to get me to do something or be something or it was I was singularly focused because I didn't have all this distraction that was chicks or bars or do this or do that or opportunity over here.
I forgot.
Yeah, so you're able to, well, I mean,
you had balance.
It wasn't even so much balance, but I wasn't. There wasn't a distraction. I was like, and it wasn't like I'm just going to focus on this and this. I'm going to be the best guy doing that. It wasn't even that. I just didn't have all this shit coming at me all the time. So this is the only thing I knew I wanted to do, and I was good at it, and I was able.
I'm pushing back, and I'm gonna push back on this, and I get both of you because I want to ask you a question to final, but I'm gonna push back on that. You had a lot of shit going up. You were able to handle it. There are a lot of people who can't handle. I got a lot of shit coming at me. You all had to, and you, like you said, that 4 months was so stressful. Your certain time, you had to be so. You must have had crews fucking up, doing things. You had a lot coming at you. You just were able to handle it. You didn't let it fluster you where you fucked up your life. I'm able to more now. My days, because I come from a different.
You know what? I think the support structure at home. That was my, when I come over that bridge, I was like, this. But no, you didn't. Cut it off.
Bullshit.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You went home and you fucking had your business in your head.
I had a brand new wife, and I spent 80 days at home.
Laz, let me explain.
80 days at home out of a year.
I don't give a fuck. In those 80 days, you're still thinking business.
Absolutely. No,
you went to bed thinking business like you did.
100%.
I could never turn it off.
You can't turn it off. I can't turn it off.
When I sold my manufacturing business, it was the worst 8 months of my entire life. And this is no lie. No lie. I go through the sale, and I'm selling a company that's microscopic compared to the people that are buying it. It's a $900 million company buying this little piece of crap company. So they expect to have me to have all the same resources that this huge company has. So I'm making stuff up on the fly. We want to know the last 5 years of all your employees and where they're, the guys that you fired and where they're at, and are we going to get sued? All this stuff is like beyond me. So it's me, my bookkeeper, my accountant, filling all this paperwork that doesn't mean anything to me. But it's 8 months of it. So I'm just jacked. 8 months, I'm like racking my brain. We finally get to the closing, and I'm sitting in my house in Melbourne Beach, and these guys are sitting up in Tennessee, and the money transfers. The money transfers, all the stock transfers, everything's good. I get all this money, the account's flush, and I go over to my wife, and I'm like, the next morning I wake up, and I'm still just jacked, energy. Yeah. I'm like, all right.
You don't know what to do.
We're paid.
Yeah. You don't know what to do.
I go to my wife and say, hey, listen, you want to go on vacation? What do you want to do? What do you want to buy? Yeah, she's like, I got to take Lindsay to school, man. Yeah. What are you talking about? I'm like, well, let's do something. What do you want to do? Let's do that. And I was fortunate enough to still I had at the time that I sold the biggest chunk of my my businesses. I still had 3 or 4 businesses going on. So she goes, I go, you want to go on vacation? No, we can't. I got to take Lindsay to school. I go, well, what about next week? Yeah, I got to work, Laz. And I'm like, and I look at her and I'm like,
no, you don't.
And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, I'm still jacked from doing all this for 8 months, So, the next morning I woke up after getting high. I woke up and I just got dressed and went back to work.
Well, see, that was my question for
I went back to work.
I'm gonna end this with that. You guys obviously sold it, and I know myself. Listen, no matter what, I try to get away in whatever ways I can. But my mind is always thinking content. My mind is always thinking, what's the next podcast? Who I know? Who I get? Think different things, and then that's why I think this is so important for young people who watch my show. They always say, "Wow, Larry, I don't like the hero word or don't, because I'm the most fucked up motherfucker you ever want to meet. So you don't want to be that kind of guy. But I have a good work ethic, I think, and I have a good people skills. I read people more than I do anything. I think anywhere I go, that's the first thing you do. First I size them up. Can I kill them? I know it sounds crazy. That really sounds crazy. I figure, I can kill that guy. I can get his throat. I can get to where, the way he stands. It's just a natural thing you do. But you guys have, I know, and I don't want people out there to think that these guys never let their business go. Am I correct? I mean, it was like you said, you could not.
So that for me, that was the curse. I could never. I was on.
You couldn't turn it off. See, I'm like that.
Since I semi-retired, that's the thing now. I have free time. Like I have more of a social. It was all about work. Even if I was out with friends,
that's why you're great in writing the pool stuff.
I was always thinking about work. It never left me.
So what do I do? What do I do now? What do I do now?
I know you lived it.
What do I do now? What I do now is I spend the majority of my time is consulting for small business owners. Whether it's you, or the landscaping guy or the electrician. I mean,
I'm lucky to be your friends. Obviously, very close with you guys. But I have picked up more in little talk with you guys, and I hope my audience has picked up little things.
We have a great group of friends. We have we have 18 or 19 friends. And they're all self-made guys for the most part. We have doctors, lawyers, criminals. We have, we have everybody. Sinners and saints, everybody eating from the same trough.
More criminals there than you think.
But I'm going to tell you, it's one of the best experiences. After I kind of shelled out all my stuff, I was just fortunate enough. And I think that you attract fortune by, being a good person and being able to read people too. Yeah. You can fall into a bad crowd or you can fall into a good. I was fortunate enough to fall into a good crowd. And I probably have more resources and stuff at my disposal now, whether it's business, banking,
100%.
Finance,
construction,
I learned
everything. About business plans.
Everything.
Listen, you think I know about what the fuck Larry know about? You know what I learned a lot, and I'll tell you, you're gonna laugh at this. We were at Daytona, and we were sitting around a fire late at night, pretty inebriated, pretty fucked up. Just let's say that. And you were talking to me about certain shit, and it was about with lawsuits and shit, and I laughed. And I actually, that night, I went in my room, in an RV, and I says, fucking guys got it together, meaning like you were pissed. And I loved it. Because I see when I get pissed, sometimes, you could always have an outlet, but I learned how much, now I hate them more than anything, or whether it's lawyers, how they fuck you, or how you might need them. Mine are different kind of lawyers, but they were. Now I look as a businessman, and I said, I get the pressure of that. Because it's a pressure that's different than a regular pressure of business to business. It's somebody coming at you at an angle that has nothing to do with what you're doing. It's just another way to fuck you.
Taking advantage.
Exactly. And I look at that as, okay, now I'm a little bit different because I look at it, okay, I see where he's coming from. How do I stop that? I blow his car up at night? No.
You can't take it personal, though, right?
No, but I still think there's ways.
There's money. It's money.
I was named in 13 shareholder lawsuits after we sold to Apple.
13? Now, did you have to buy your own lawyer, hire your own lawyer?
Apple provided the
Now, we're going to end because this is great. And I hope you guys are all right with opening up, and I hope we do come back maybe on a more scale to talk about business. Because you guys are really a plethora of information. I mean, really. And I think a lot of the audience like that because some of them sit there, and I've heard them say, I like sitting when you talk to an expert, and now you let them talk. Because I used to, in the beginning, I used to say, fuck it, I just keep talking. But you guys, what's your final advice
Well, I was going to tell you a story. With
Yeah, tell it. Yeah, please do. Please do.
You know, after we sold to Apple, it was a family friend who worked at a big university here in Florida.
Oh, fuck you.
I'm sorry. I just keep rotating in my job.
And, you know, he said, will you come and talk to the graduate business students?
Where?
It was a big college in Florida.
Okay, you don't want to say.
No.
Good enough.
And, no, but they wanted to talk about my experience. And, you know, what stood out, they wanted kind of my formula of how I got there. But I left them very disappointed. You know, I didn't, just what you were saying. It was like, look, you know, I grind, I worked hard. I was never
They
chasing
couldn't
money.
quantify that.
Believe it or not, I wasn't chasing the big payday. It happened.
You never chased
But
the
there was-
sell? Did you have an out
Well-
plan? Didn't you guys both have exit plans?
No, not like the exit I had. No way.
Did you?
I targeted people. Yes.
The reason I ask you, I had a master's professor do my business plan with FIT. You know him, Donald Batar. You might know him, who he is. So we sat down. It took us 6 weeks. I have a business plan that's off the charts. I mean, spreadsheets and shit. And one of the first things we discussed was what's your exit plan, and that's a hard thing for me.
Yeah.
I'm just asking.
See, I was ambitious.
You know, lads, you
but
seem like
I was
an
ambitious, but I didn't map this out.
Yours is
you know,
just
and I was especially the
mega.
place I was in career-wise. You have
sold
all these
for 370
forks.
million.
Yeah, but you have these forks in the road, and I think back how many forks I had, and somehow
You
I
navigated
through.
them, yeah.
And
You
what
know, they didn't
position
like
were you
my-
in the company
they
at the
didn't-
time?
No, I mean, even when I was low level, I had
But
all
you
these
ended
things.
up being the
if
president.
I had taken the wrong fork, I wouldn't have ended up here. And, you know, they didn't really like my answer. But I said every time I came to one of those forks, you know, the answer was in my gut. You know, I said, I don't know if it's Italian radar.
Really? They just-
no,
is that
but
true?
deep,
Is that true?
Oh, I swear, deep down, I think it through.
I'm so happy because my shit is in my
No,
gut.
but he said it was all there. Like there was, but they wanted this formula, and I was like, I'm sorry, guys, I don't have this magic formula. You know, I
Yeah,
worked
everybody
hard.
wants everybody
I got
everybody
to
wants a
these
silver
forks.
bullet. you
No,
know?
I got to
no,
these
true,
forks,
lads.
and then I
Very
decided
true.
what fork.
But a
it's
question
like
with
if I
that.
had taken the one wrong fork, I wouldn't ended up where
But a question
was.
with that: Do you think there's always a point in everybody's business that's going to happen?
Absolutely.
I think so. Yeah.
And
So what makes somebody
and-
successful and what makes somebody not successful? Is it fear? Is it, you know, risk takers? We're all risk takers. I'm a big risk taker, obviously, and I know
think it's-
Elon Musk,
I think-
all the big people.
I think it's fear. Fear is what stops 90% of people from being
Fear
successful.
of what? Failure?
Fear of whatever, failure or not
Losing
being
your job. I had
losing
two
your
little
job,
kids
not
at
having an
home,
income.
you know, there was
Yeah.
I asked him that more than anybody. And
Yeah.
I'm the answer. And
Fear, I think,
because
is the
fear,
number-
you had a somewhat background, I call it, to do
No,
something.
but they had layoffs regularly. I had two little kids at home, a new mortgage. I mean, I had fear of losing
I think young
my
people
job.
have an advantage in this because when I was coming up in business, I was too stupid to measure the fear. You know, I just jump in and just do it and grind. And if I fucked up, I just start it again. And just, you know, I didn't have that. I didn't have anything that was anchoring me down or holding me back. And I had a good support
You
structure.
say you didn't. You really did, but you didn't put it.
Yeah,
in
but I didn't
priority.
put.
You had a wife.
I had a
Yeah,
wife, and I had a family that was very supportive, and whatever I did, you know, I always looked at it from like I've got, you know, I always had that maybe that feeling that, you know, I have to get this done. I don't have a choice. I have to be successful because I've got my parents that, you know, that are depending on me. I have my siblings that are depending on me. So my wife. So it wasn't really a choice for me. But I was, you know, there was a lot of times I was like, what the hell am I doing? This is fucking idiotic. And at the same time, I was like, I'm going this way, you know. So for me, it wasn't so much, you know, like a choice. And I didn't see it as a choice. Maybe I can go back and look at it now. It's like, well, I could have done this, I could have done that. And I'm sure everybody has doubts.
You're not done with this answer because I want to ask this. You did that speech with the school, whatever it was. Afterwards, what did you think of yourself? Did you say, because I speak at a lot of colleges, actually. I speak at FIT, I speak at the other, Brevard, well, it used to be Brevard Community, now it's Florida State. And I go there for a psychology class. I go for your other class. They ask me to come as a guest speaker. And I look afterwards, and I sometimes think, should have I said that or should I not said that? You know, especially with me. So did you change the way you looked at things, or did you say it the same way every time? Or, I mean, you're right now. You're on a lot of boards right now for companies, right?
A few, yeah.
And do you tell people that the same way? Do you say, listen, it's we can fuck this up, guys. It's our gut. Who's going to make that decision? You made the decision because you were in a position to make it. You too, obviously, but we're going to go into you.
No, but I'm even talking when I was a lower level, just an engineer. I had opportunities to do this or that. And, I'll never forget, as an engineer, you wanted to be in Silicon Valley back in the late 80s, early 90s. And, I had an offer to move. The kids were settled in the neighborhood. They were happy. And it's like, you know what? I can't trade off my ambition.
Did you ever question that? Because sometimes I question it.
Oh, I did.
Right now, I question it, to be honest.
But I did. But I kind of like I can't.
But I got my mom.
I can't yank the kids and go cross country and whatever, And it's like, holy shit, it worked out. I was better off staying. I probably wouldn't have ended up where I was.
You sold the company for $370 million.
How do you know?
Yeah, it could have sold for $3 billion. Hey,
that's the part that fries my noodle.
Hey, listen to me, lads. That's a great thing. I never even.
How do you know?
He's right. You could have maybe sold for $2 billion. But I think you're all right.
But how do you know? So it's all those forks in the road.
That's a great.
And they have to.
Do you regret anything?
Oh no.
Okay.
No.
No matter what.
No. I say.
I hate the word regret to begin.
There was that one chick in high school.
I feel like I overachieved. My 18-year-old self never would have.
So in your high school yearbook, it said, he's gonna be all right.
I wasn't most likely to succeed.
No, mine was he'll be in jail, and they were right. But
I did get.
I didn't want my picture taken.
I did get voted wittiest once.
Wittiest.
But you could see
now, last same question with you. First of all, do you think you ever would be where you are today, especially coming from where you come from?
I don't think I would have ever gotten to where I'm at if it wasn't for my family first and my wife second. 100%. If I didn't have the support structure,
I love that. But no. And
I'm not lying. I'm not lying.
And I'm not knocking.
I'm not
I
lying.
know what you're saying.
I could not have driven as hard and as fast as I wanted to if I didn't have that, support structure behind me.
But it's bullshit. We're all talking and we're having a few drinks.
Listen to me.
I get it. I love my mom. I'm here for my mom.
I'm not.
No, I'm with him on
100%, dude.
But
if I didn't have
you were making the decision,
dude, I'd be living under a bridge. If it wasn't for my old lady.
I'm live under a fuck. You're Donald Trump.
I'm just telling you. I'm just telling you. I think if you...
Okay, I'm not going to fight. Hey, listen, it's your answer, and I get it.
I don't understand what you're...
My answer is this. You guys are both very successful guys, and I know you. And I know you guys... Listen, I often tell people who makes the decision in their family. Obviously, you did, or I did, or whoever. 100%. If you told your wife, listen, hon, we're going to Atlanta because I have to go to Atlanta, she says yes, and that's the end of it.
We're going.
Right?
We're going. No, we're going to Atlanta.
It's not the wife that keeps you or makes you a success. It's maybe the wife that agrees with you or follows along with you.
No, but he said something earlier.
Does that make sense?
No, but he said something earlier. In the middle of all the chaos of work and the stress and whatever, it's nice to have like an anchor. That
100%.
And, I used to say a lot of my success I attribute to my kids because they didn't create drama and stress for me so I could focus on work. Kind of, I think what you were saying earlier.
Don't say that on the show. You know why? You just put a lot of pressure on those kids that are
watching.
No, the job was so encompassing. If I had all this shit at home and distractions.
Was it really that?
Listen,
I don't mean that to the job.
For a guy that doesn't have a family or a wife or anything, I think it's actually harder for them to be successful. I really believe that.
Wow.
It's not even about you going to your. Somebody has to lead. Somebody has to follow, and the person that decides to follow has to be supportive of whatever it happens, even if it goes off a cliff.
100%.
We're going with you, baby. I'm with you.
Same with me with the mob. I had to follow.
It just so happened you have to follow. Somebody's got to lead. Somebody's got to follow. So even if the guy that's following or the gal that's following is a shithead, they're not going to get anybody following them. Not for long. If the guy or the gal that's leading...
obviously, we're not going to get into relationships.
No, but it has nothing to do with it. It has nothing to do with that. But if you have... Whether it's a company. If the guy in the front of a company is a fucking asshole and he doesn't know what he's doing, all those people behind him, there's going to be all kinds of dissensions.
He wouldn't be successful if he was an asshole and he didn't know what he was doing.
100%.
Right?
That just goes to show you.
So my point there is you guys are the ones who've taken your careers and made them what they were, and you had supportive people.
Listen,
100%.
Larry, I want to give it. It doesn't have to be your wife.
They're not the reason.
It doesn't have to
they're
be
part of the help to get there.
Listen,
Yes.
it doesn't have to be your
right?
wife.
Am
It
I
doesn't
wrong?
have to be a wife. It doesn't have to be your kids. It doesn't have to be
Could
your
be any
family.
friends.
It could be your you.
Absolutely.
Right? You have a whole crew of people in Brevard County that love you,
100%.
and support you. Doesn't matter what Larry does.
100%.
Doesn't matter what Larry does. We're behind
that's
him.
a big thing for me.
We're here today because we love you and we
100%.
want you to be successful, and we're going to push.
John Bomilowski, you know him,
100%.
obviously, we're very close. And John and I talk about if he moves where I move, because we're so close. And it's not money. It's just
Yes,
a brotherhood,
Right.
And
It's
he's
support.
here because he said, Larry, I'm here a lot of times as you. He goes, we're so we really are that. We hang out, we do
100%.
things. I know so much. He's such a different, great guy, and totally opposite of me. Forget that. You want to talk about opposites?
Right.
There's no farther opposites in this county than one of the best doctors in the world,
100%.
and fucking me, Laz. Am I right?
See, what he's saying too is money, chasing money wasn't the most important.
All of us.
It's not.
And it wasn't for me ever.
Even me.
Ever.
It's
It
not.
worked
It's
out
not.
great, but that wasn't my
But okay,
singular-
the single best advice, you're next, so wait. The single best advice you will give Nick. Right now, Nick, because he's 26 years old in a company.
I would say whatever you're doing, you do it the best you know how, and you look for opportunities to break out. But you can't half-ass anything. That was what I always did. Even when I was entry-level engineer, said, damn it, I'm going to try to be the most valuable guy every day. And the people that would mark time and whatever, and I'll never forget, there was a guy, every day he'd leave at 5 o'clock, go home and do his bong hits and everything else. I'm at the office till 7. After that IPO, whatever, he was at a party drunk, and I'll never forget, he came up, he goes, you're no smarter than me. You were just lucky. I said, bullshit, asshole. When you were clocking out like Fred Flintstone sliding down the dinosaur when the fucking horn went off, I was still in the office, so fuck you. You know what I mean?
Hard work, yeah.
No, I'm serious, though. I
That's
know
a
it's
great-
simple.
No, I
No,
understand
it's
it.
simple, but, and it kind of pissed me off because I watched him walk by when I was still in the office, and he goes, you're no smart. You're just lucky. And I was like, no. Fuck
Fucking
you.
bitter
You
people
know,
suck.
on that
Serious.
before,
Bitter
before
people
Laz,
suck.
you go.
Serious.
Before I'm gonna say what happened to me, and it was funny because you know one of my closest friends was Joe Fermini, and Joe and I know Joe from back in the day when I helped him when they were trying to shake him down in his bowling alley, and I stopped that shit back in the day. Joe said to me, Larry, he goes, I'm so proud of you. He goes, because people think you're gonna get lucky and you just hit it. Whether it's YouTube or not.
Yeah.
He goes, but they don't realize you were friggin' grinding on
Yeah,
TV
exactly.
on everybody.
Yeah,
for
exactly.
10
That's what I
years,
say. It's not a
10
scratch
years.
off lottery ticket,
No,
man.
it's just
not a
you're
scratch
you're
off
not
lottery
luck.
ticket.
Don't ever
Yeah.
don't degrade
Exactly.
yourself.
It's not
because of
luck. It's
Now,
luck
luck
plays a
you
role.
need luck.
Plays a role.
I don't delude
and
myself.
now,
I
before we
don't-
close, Laz, give me your best advice for our audience.
It's going to sound cliche, but I think that you have to find something that you like because you don't mind doing it. So you're going to put 10, 12 hours a day into it. And if you do something for long enough, you're going to find success. It might not be monetary, but you're going to find success in it. And if it's not a burden to you, if it's not a pain in the ass, you look forward to doing it. You get up every morning early to do it because it's exciting or you want to do it. Eventually you're going to get good at it, but you have to allow that to mature. You can't just say, I'm going to do this because I'm going to sell these lighters because, I'm going to make $1 million. Do you like lighters?
Yeah.
Is the lighter your thing? You like fire? What are you? But you got to
Have a passion for what you do.
You got to have a passion. And it sounds cliche. You got to have
Did you both have passions for what you did?
I developed a passion for what I did.
You know what? That's why doing what I did, I was lucky. I was a nerd, I would build circuit boards. I would etch my own circuit boards and build stuff. And, so going working in semiconductor, it's like, geez, this is what I used to do for fun. And now I'm designing chips and stuff.
That's
when I
important
was
for
a nerd.
kids who are playing on
Huge.
computers
Huge.
today. Yeah.
So I always felt myself lucky because a lot of people go to work. It's a job. And I kind of feel sad
Sucks.
for people who hate what they're doing every day. Oh my God!
Yeah, I do too.
So that's one area I feel blessed that I was doing something I actually liked, but it's not.
And that's
all
huge.
of
I
us
think that's
do.
huge.
I
I
think
think
that's
that's
amazing.
No.
Nick, you have questions for two very successful guys right now.
No, I
He's
think
going to
they,
talk to me later. He's
they,
going to say,
ran around
damn, I
everything.
should.
Larry, I'm putting my 2 weeks notice in.
Yeah, Larry, I know how to do this better than you. I'm gone.
I'm going to do some underwater
I know
basket
you
weaving.
like what we do, Nick. I I
Yeah.
know that. He quit a very successful. He did bathrooms and tiles and made good money and all. And he came here because he loves this. He tried it. He talks about this. He was 10 years old when he started doing blah. Believe it, 10 years old. Am I right, Nick? Is that true?
Yeah, the YouTube came out when I was since 10.
10 fucking years
I
old.
was hacking with electronics.
That's why
when I
he's
was a
like, he
little
knows
kid.
like every
crazy?
date of YouTube. I was like,
Crazy?
it's like baseball stats. Like I know when
Some
this
people work for their
YouTuber, you
for
know.
their family business and hate it, and their
Exactly.
parents pass away and they fucking tank the business
And
because they don't like it.
And to end the show, I got to say, first of all, everybody out there, I want to thank Chach and I hope we can do some more of this in its own way, whether it's together or really, because you guys, I think, are really a lot of information. And you guys are regular guys. I want people to know these guys very successful, but they're willing to help people. You've never ever denied me talking to me and looking down on anybody. I've never seen you look down on anybody.
You know why though? When I see I was them. I
Right,
was them.
you were
It's
that
very
guy.
easy for me to. I
But
was
you know,
them.
late, yeah.
I know
I
you
was
both
them.
very well. Both of you've come. I won't say my path, but close. But yeah. And I look at Nick, and the advice I give to Nick is he loves what he does. He's a workaholic like I am, and I think he's. I'm trying to bring more. He's going to be that success because I'm old. I don't mean old.
Yeah.
I love what I do, guys. Everybody knows that. That people ask me, Larry, you're not quitting. You're not going to quit. You're not going to do. You know.
You like what you do?
I love what I do.
Why would
And
you
know
quit?
that.
Why would you quit?
And you know what it is? It's the reason I was always an educator, whether it was in my program or whatever I do, I'm an educator in its own way. And that's why this podcast is top 1% in the world out of 3 million podcasts.
That's awesome.
That's great. And people know that we're authentic. Listen, there's no cut. I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna tell it like it, and you guys are like that. That's why I enjoy. You guys got these perfect personalities to be business people on a podcast like this, because you can ask you anything. We don't ask stupid questions. I get a politician on here, and he's got to bullshit and say the exact
Spinning
crap
everything.
and spin it anything.
Yeah.
You guys aren't spinning it. You don't want
no
anything
need
from
to.
me, that's for
Right.
sure.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want. Listen, you guys have been there in their emotional more support than anything. And my thing is, I have a crazy brain, and my brain is.
Let me ask you. I got a question. How many
Yeah.
how many friends did you have when you were working? I mean, true
That's a
friends.
great question.
How many friends did you have while you were in the throes of
there's
your
a difference.
business?
You should say friends,
Like
not
fri-
just associates.
You know, people that you would
So I had-
you could relate to and you can hang out with and
Yeah.
pour on
While
to.
I was working, 2 or 3 very close friends.
That you can bounce
Yes,
off of.
a lot of people.
See, I consider you guys
a lot
friends
of
that I could
people
do
that pretended to be my friend. Then once I retired, and then I didn't have as much to offer. It just
Really?
It's going down. But since I retired, because I have more time to invest in friends, I've made a lot.
So you think you should think it's a two-way street?
What do you mean?
Meaning you didn't give enough time to invest in friends, and they didn't give enough time.
I didn't
to
have the
invest in
time to
you.
do
With
it.
me, I didn't have the time.
That's what I
didn't have
said. So
the
it's a
time.
two-way street.
It was. I didn't have the time. It just there was not enough time.
See, I have-
for a
I-
social life. Really,
You know,
You're in a different business, though.
Yeah.
No, but I'm also listen. I'm a communicator. And I love people, and and obviously I have a lot of associates I call them, but then I have a lot of friends that I know I could call and say, "Ty, I need this advice. What should I do?"
Yeah.
You've talked to me about cigars.
100%.
You've talked
Yeah.
to me about a lot of things. You've talked to me about business, and it's not the minute details that I have to. That's fucking bullshit. It's that thing about the gut.
Yeah.
That fucking gut, and how you took the fucking risk of to fucking open and work hard and then getting the business. I look at that for Nick. I look at that for my son. I look at that for the 3-4 kids that are working for us they're hungry. They're hungry
So that's
and hard workers.
I see young people hungry and hustling and with
all I
ambition.
care
It's
about.
like you're going to be successful because
And you
know
want to
what?
help them, and
You-
automatically
wanna
you want to help them.
And I
You
want to
wanna
help.
help.
Exactly.
100%.
And I'm at that point. Like I just I have to be here because of my mom. And I don't regret it, but don't think it's easy. And we talk about it a lot, you and I, because we have both elderly moms, and I love my mother to death. But she'll put the house at 79 degrees, and I go, "What am I? I can't live in the sauna. What are you freaking doing to me?" And Nick helps so much because she loves Nick. Because she'll come here and say, "I need Nick." What for?
Maybe another blanket.
No. Her iPhone.
I wish that's what
He
she was
teaches
doing.
her this. I got her. My mom's the only 91-year-old who's gonna have an iPhone 10. She has. So I got her the iPhone 10 for this. Now all you gotta do is say, "Hey Siri," or whatever it is, and do it. She forgot how to do that. now Nick has to go and say, I just told you that you did, and 3 but I love her. She's the best.
Awesome.
And
91
she
years
was
old,
there
man.
for me when I was
She's earned the right
away.
to forget, you know?
She was there when I was in prison. She was there when my down times. And to this day, she'll drive me crazy, but I love her to death. And you and I discussed that one day. And I'm blessed to have it. I got to honestly say, if you want to call it that. But it hurts me because, I thought about, I had many people, Larry, go to L.A., forget it. You'd be a MAGA head in
But would you?
New York.
But would you?
Don't know. That's the problem. I am willing to be a risk taker. Let's face it, Melbourne is not the best place to be in the media business.
Maybe it's the best place for you, pal.
That is
You
true.
never know.
Yeah,
You never
Laz,
know.
That's a
That's
good way.
you never
Laz,
know. You never know.
Wow.
That's just
why do you got to put normal shit on me?
That's not normal shit. It's you are where you are because this is where you're supposed to be. Wow. It's just that's the way business happens, man. It's not because
off air I'm going to yell at him every minute.
You're doing the right thing.
you are. I mean, it's
And you know what? I learned, several of our friends have had taken care of their mothers when they get old, and it's not lost on me. Mothers living with them and everything else. People our age.
big part of your part of your life.
No, I know, and it's
I agree with
it's
that.
a way it should
and
be.
I look at person do it a little differently. I say he's doing right. Or period. All you guys, both of you guys are because you guys are very level-headed. And you're normal in both all ways. So it's not just, you're successful, but you also know how to balance having a good time and going out and taking your wife to dinner and going to a party and stuff. With that, Nick, what do you think?
Hey, we got somewhere.
Did you learn
I had
anything?
a lot
Awesome.
of fun. Yeah.
Wait, Nick, did you learn anything?
Oh yeah.
He's
yeah.
Maybe.
This camera, it really, this camera setup is just stressing me the fuck out.
Yeah,
That's what it's been the whole time.
I
This
can't,
fucking
I
camera
can't tell
stress.
anything in front of these kids.
It's stressing
Nick,
me
go
out,
listen
dude.
to YMCA and watch the
No,
video.
screw that, dude.
I want to know which one he's
Oh,
going
come on, lads.
I wanna know
Thank you. And I mean that.
Thank you.
I mean that, guys.
Thanks for the
I hope you come
opportunity.
back for that.
Absolutely.
I really do.
Anytime.
All right, Nick, you want to kill it?
All right.
All right, everybody, please make good choices. Think before you act. I don't want to see you in the wrong way, and I'll see you on our next show.
Nothing compares to it.
But it's definitely something you should hear.
This is The Real Deal with Larry Lawton.